we're shifting gears now. It's time for team racing. And Allie, you've been asking for this for a while. We've hinted at multi-classes and all kind of stuff, but now we finally get teams, 3 different cars, 3 different drivers. How's this going to play out?
It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun because teams have been around in Forza forever. They've always been there. People train together, people working together to find the best way around the track and teach each other and learn. But we've been racing them as individuals, up against, all against all. Now we get to have team strategy. We get to have all sorts of new tactics playing out on the track. I'm so curious to see what these guys have come up with as tactics to win.
And that started already, hasn't it? Listen to what Roadrunner was saying about how the guys went out, they knew the potential of cars that they were going to race, so they all had a go, and then they started doing the arithmetic to work out who would get, which permutation would get them to the end of the race best at the end of the race. Brilliant.
Well, let's go over to Mellish. He's the 3rd member of our broadcast
Correct.
team, not 4th. Mellish, car choices. This is something new. Normally we come over to you and we start asking about, okay, tell us about this one car, but now it's a plethora of cars.
Yeah, you give me a handful here, but I'm going to lay it down here. I'm going to lay it down the law of the land. It's a great new concept that these guys are going to have to endure. Definitely, you're going to have certain types of cars. They're going to be within the same second of each other in terms of lap times, but they're all going to have different attributes which contribute to different types of racing. There's going to be 3 different types of racing dynamics. So let's break it down and say you're going to have a grip car, and this is going to be the perfect car to try and get out and make those lap times and get away. But it's not going to be a great defensive car because there's going to be guys there with a little bit more overall speed, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be defensive and dominating on the straight lines on these tracks. And then we're going to have an all-rounder, so it's got a little bit of grip and a little bit of speed, and these are the guys who are going to have to help their teammates to make sure they get all those points and lock down that podium.
Well, that's going to be interesting. Finally strategy has made its way into Forza racing, and you talked about AMS, and that's probably the ultimate team-oriented racing team that we have right now. The interesting thing is going to be a team like TX3, where it's sort of not really all for one, it's sort of a free for all.
Yeah, I mean, TX3.
Very good. I'm stealing that.
What an interesting team, though. What an interesting team. We've got Mr. Jack, Lightning, and Hard BR. I mean, TX3, they're a newly kind of stitched team. They got a little bit of sponsor money coming through recently, got themselves some new drivers, and arguably those guys haven't had time to really mesh as a tactical unit yet.
So this is a team, you're saying this is a team of individuals that might not work as a team. So it's like putting, the best 3 soccer strikers in the world in the same team and immediately expecting them to work together. Are we expecting any diva-ish behavior here where somebody hasn't got the car choice that they wanted? Do they stomp off in a huff?
Long answer, I hope they prove me wrong, all that kind of stuff, but yes.
Because you would have to think that Lightning got first choice of car. Am I right? I mean, just based on what we know about the whole situation?
Well, right. I mean, there's a question I want to put straight to Lightning if we can later on, because surely Lightning gets first choice, right? I mean, he's never been off the podium at a Forza Racing Championship ever, and that's something which no other driver can claim.
I have a friend. Her name's Shannon McIntosh. I got a feeling we can get to the bottom of this for this day's over. Let's take a look at these teams as we first ever team racing that we've ever had. You got F4H, of course, the youngsters that are in that. Alien Motorsport. Tell me a little bit more about that, Ali.
Yeah, AMS Motorsport, leader of that team is Roadrunner. He runs it alongside Custom Dips, who's not here today. All right, they're a strong team. They're a tactical unit. I think of all of the 4 teams there, they're the one who are most likely to be able to bring out this kind of strategy that we're talking about.
And the other team we have yet to mention either is JSR.
Such a cool bunch. Such a cool bunch. Bunch of buddies. They're a different kind of team to the other ones. They're mates. They hang around together. They chat. They're basically friends who happen to play Forza.
I like the look of the makeup of that team. I've seen how they've interacted over the last few days. Obviously, the personal side of it now, the individual side of the competition's over. And I just think because of that friendship, they've got the opportunity to gel quickly and react better and say, this is not all about me. I can help my teammate to make up a position here. And I think that's where we'll see this part of the tournament. I think that's where we'll see it won and lost.
It's something about Jab Speed Racing. I just imagine some guys in a garage, like it's an old RX-7. They're leaning over there just working on it, getting some extra horsepower, going from 120 to 143.
That's it. That's it, though. You got it. Absolutely, that's them. And, like you say, they might have a bit of team spirit to work with, but I think at the same time, if they get bad results, they're the team who are most likely to get sort of underneath that and be like, can we just go now? Can we just go and hang out? Go back to the garage and chill out with our cool car, you know?
Okay.
All right, Melish, tell us a little bit about this track that we're going to be putting these teams through.
Well, we're going to Virginia. We're going to
Finally,
VIR.
finally, VIR.
It's a controversial track, guys. It's a controversial track here because it has got so much grass. You could have a picnic and race at the same time. And these guys, and certainly someone is going to be off the track here. I mean, like, let's just look how complex this is. It doesn't get any hard. It doesn't get any easier actually after the first turn. Got to go through the snake, which is my favorite part. It's all about maintaining top speed and having the balls to go over the crest blindly without hitting that grass up towards Oak Tree. And it's just like straight line speed. It's going to be the guys that get the best corner exit out of there. And the worst place for me is the last corner. You want to like nail it so hard, but you can't because you just hit that grass if you do it. It's just you can't be too greedy.
Now, John, you've been around this track a few times.
I have. I've driven a Porsche around there.
Yeah, minus the Oak Tree.
It's a circuit that works very well for GT cars. In IMSA, we don't race the prototypes there.
Yep.
Remarkably, they do race motorcycles there, and that I have got to go and see because anyone who races a bike around there, particularly when it's wet, really? And I ride a bike back in the UK, and I say, wow. This is a track that has a bit of everything for everyone. There's no perfect setup in the real world, and I'm guessing it's exactly the same here in Forza because you have the long front straight coming out of turn 17, the hog pen. I love some of the names of this corner. It's old skill as well. So you run down there into the horseshoe in turn 1. Turn 3 is NASCAR. Now, it's called NASCAR, not because it looks like a NASCAR turn on an oval.
Because Richard Petty couldn't handle it.
1966 Richard Petty in the Grand Am race was one of 3 top-named NASCAR drivers who fell off at turn 3 on lap 1 of the Trans Am race. So that tells you, if the king can't handle it, that is a tougher corner than it looks on paper. You don't race on paper, do you? We race out on the track. Everything else that happens on this track is all about momentum. There's some crazy fast corners. Going up the hill, there's a beautiful set of condos up on the left-hand side. Great place to watch the motor racing. South Bend, turn 10, coming over the top of turn 9 to 10. That is, you look at it and go, who said that would be okay to do that?
Right.
I've spectated up there in practice sessions. Lamborghini, which is, we have a Lamborghini as one of the cars here. They're coming up in a moment. We had it airborne 3, 4, 5 laps in a row by a guy called Jeroen Mul, a Netherlands driver. We named him Air Mul after that because he was more off the ground than he was on it. Awesome track. The best drivers will love it. Team tactics could play out because that long run down the back straight, Madison Avenue, into the roller coaster, I can see a bit of jiggery-pokery going on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of different lines on that backside of the track.
I agree.
Melish, tell us a little bit more about these cars as we're getting ready for race 4.
Well, like you say, it's Forza GT division. This is my favorite division of all. And the 3 cars are going to be used, like I said before, we're going to have grip, like an all-rounder and speed. We've got the Dragon Speed Gallardo, which is not actually used that much, I don't think, in competitive racing, but it's great four-wheel drive. It's going to have that top-line speed, and that's what you're going to need between Oak Tree and Roller Coaster. That is going to be crucial for those guys there. The Corvette has got the grip to take it around the first sector to the second sector through the snake, and they've got the McLaren as well. The McLaren has got speed, but through the middle gears, second and third. It's got the acceleration because it's mid-engine and rear drive, where the Gallardo is four-wheel drive, and then we've got the Corvette, the C7R, which is front-engine rear drive.
Yeah, so an interesting trio there, and this is not a very wide track as well. These are some cars that got some junk in the trunk, so to speak. A little wide in the back, and you got a narrow track here, Alan.
Yeah, I'm going to call the Corvette for that immediately. You know, it kind of narrows up towards the front, but when
Sure.
you're looking at the back of the thing, there is plenty of car there, and you had to get around. You had to get around plenty of it to get side by side.
I'm very interested in the selection of the Gallardo 574. 570 is how many horsepower it has. 4 is four-wheel drive. That's the last iteration of the Gallardo. We've moved on to the Huracan now in IMSA competition. But I saw that car race here at VIR 2 or 3 years ago, and there was a whole pack of them. That was the Super Trofeo car at that time. My goodness me. That thing punches off the corners. You can sit the car down right in the middle of the corners. I'll be interested to see which team member takes that car. Do you put a guy who's not very confident in the car? And here's a question for you, Ali. Do you put a guy who's not very confident with the track in that, so he's got the confidence of the four-wheel drive for particularly stability under braking? Or do you put your absolute hot shoe, the guy who's going to pull the pin and disappear in the distance in that?
You know, that's a question all the teams are going to tackle differently. My guess, though, would be that they're going to put a slower driver in that car. And the reason for that is all-wheel drive will give you that bang, launch off the line, which you're not going to get in any of the rear-wheel drive cars. Both of the other cars are rear-wheel drive. And so you can get ahead before the first corner and then hold people back as you go through the first sector.
The McLaren being a mid-engine car, it's the 12C, the GT3 version of the 12C. It's got a nice balance between grip and aero in the real world. Exactly the same in Forza. I saw the guys practicing with it yesterday. I think, although we call that a medium, I think that's a precision tool. I think your smooth driver is what goes into that car. That's a scalpel, whereas the Lamborghini is a chainsaw. That's the way I look at it.
I think that's true. I think there's something to that.
When we look at VIR, and throughout the last 7 decades of racing, so many tracks have changed year over year. This is a track that since 1957 was, first of all, crafted by bulldozers, just some good old boys going out there and doing some work. It's amazing that it hasn't really changed that much.
And I think that's part of its charm. You know, we nearly lost that track a few years ago, and Connie Nyholm and the rest of the people up there got it back together originally as a kind of country club style track day, now right back up to top spec so we can go racing on it.
Let's take a look at the grid here. We're just getting ready for race number 1 of the team races. Hard BR up on the top. Venom, Roadrunner, Lightning, Rossi, Racers make the first 6.
Okay, stand by. This is something you haven't seen before. Team racing with all 3 members on the grid. All 3 members of the team on the grid at the same time, and we're ready to go racing at VIR, Virginia International Raceway. This is their full circuit, just over 3¼ miles around, 17 corners. The oak tree turn is the hairpin at the top. Why is it called the oak tree turn? Because there used to be an oak tree there.
Get out.
Got hit by lightning a few years ago. If you ever go to VIR, you can buy oak tree key rings and souvenirs because they chopped it up into little pieces because it couldn't stay. That was fantastic. I remember in both guises, and some of the drivers who raced there back in the day find it difficult without the tree there because it was part of the sight line and you checked out where you were going to brake for it. It's all going to be early on, I think, Ali, about the dash down to the horseshoe, the first corner.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's going to be all about that right-hand hairpin that we start off with. Here we
Look
go.
at the weather. This is very un-Virginia-like. It's foggy, it looks like it's damp, and it's into the evening as well. And look at the headlights and the taillights into the darkness. Roadrunner, flush with success, gets out in front of the team. Look at how they're going on there. McQueen way down in 11th position. Now let's get them through NASCAR. They have done. Nobody's done a Richard Petty. That's good news. Now climbing through turns 4 and 5. Don't use that curb on the right-hand side there. That's like a razor curb. It's awful. Mellish's favourite part, up through the snake. This is about just gently balancing the car. Easy to say when you're on your own, but when you're in a pack, you are looking, you've got to have a head like an owl.
Yeah, Roadrunner right now is pretending the cars in front do not exist because they will be distracting his line. They'll be stopping him selecting the fastest part of this track as he closes up on F4H Venom, making a mistake out of 10.
Yeah, getting the right-hand tyres on the grass, and there's no grip out there at all, but Venom has done a really good job defensively into the oak tree turn, managed to keep hold of that position down Madison Avenue for the first time. Get the gear shifts right, because if you miss one here, you are going to lose momentum.
Yeah, absolutely right. Here it is, the long, long straight of Madison Avenue, and towards the very difficult braking zone of the roller coaster. We're going to go uphill here to the left, clip that apex, run the brakes into that right-hand corner and over that crest.
I think that's possibly one of the most difficult braking areas from speed that as IMSA we travel to, because you just can't see where you are going. You have to trust that the track hasn't moved since the last time you were there. Of course it hasn't, but you've got to believe in that.
Yeah, it's difficult to believe that every single
it
time,
really is.
especially when the weather is inclement like this.
This is fantastic. We had to stop a race here a few years ago when a thunder and lightning storm blew through and the weather got so bad in the Continental Tires Sports Car Challenge that we just couldn't race out there with so much water on the track and so much lightning in the air. And these are the kind of conditions that really bring real drivers to the fore, battling for positions in the middle of the class here. Let's go straight down to Mellish as we're on that second lap at the moment. Mellish, what are you seeing?
Hey man, it's disaster strikes for TX3 right now. We've got Mrs. Jack in the Gallardo. This is when the rain begins to drop. You're going to need to get that Gallardo at the top of the pack. But he's 3,000 feet behind the leaders. He had a hash over the South Crest towards Oak Tree, just completely blind, lost all steering off into the grass, man.
He's got a long way to come back from there. I'm not sure there's the time to do it. The battles continue. This is exactly what we've been seeing all day. If you are just joining us, we're into the team challenge here and we're at VIR. And look at this at the front of the field. First and second together down the long back straight. There's 3 or 4 different configurations of this track and you can run 3 of them together, which can be a bit confusing if you can see guys going on the infield. We don't have to worry about that today. Now, where's the braking point? I've no clue. Where do you turn in? About here, I think. And if you fall off to the left-hand side there, it's all downhill to the fence.
Look at that, Rossi just piling the pressure onto Hard BR now, and we know that from the individual competition that Hard BR may make a mistake if Rossi keeps that pressure on there. Less than 2 tenths between them as Rossi gets a little wide coming out of Hog's Pen.
Interesting to me to see the car choices and to see the cars that are running at the front at the moment, Ali, and they are pulling away. So they've got their car choice right. They haven't had to battle too much through the pack, and they are trying to get their car choices away from everybody else, and just, they don't want to be fighting. They're going to get caught if they start going side by side in the McLarens.
You're right, they're all the hairs are out the front there.
Yeah.
You can see you've got TX3 Hard BR, JSR Rossi, and he's followed by F4H Venom. And then it's an AMS driver behind that. I think it's Roadrunner. So there's 4 different representatives from 4 different teams in the top 4.
Yeah, is the top 4 all running? Are they all running McLarens there? Difficult to see in the darkness, but certainly the front pair are the McLaren 12Cs as the battle starts to heat up for the minor positions. When will we see the 4-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive Lamborghini Gallardo coming through? Will we see them coming through?
Yeah, I mean, Craviator here is threatening the rear of Lightning, running in that Lambo behind the Corvettes.
Back to Mellish for an update.
So far, actually, Rossi's made 3 places as well as Force 1. Biggest loser so far is TX3 Lightning, who's trying to get round Commando as the rain begins to hit the track now. He's got it all to do in that Corvette because there's no Lambo so far.
Yeah, it's interesting for me, but if it's going to get wetter, maybe the Lambo will come into its own in the latter part of the race. The laps go quickly here as the guys are jockeying position. What we're not seeing at the moment, yeah, the rain's getting heavier. The rain is getting heavier. What we're not seeing here, Ali, at the moment is an awful lot of opportunity for the guys to play team favourites because they haven't got themselves all together in a pack.
You're
Each
right.
individual team are all spread out.
We're waiting for 2 of the teammates to get together on this track and start a team drive. There you go. You can see the rooster plume there from the rear of F4H Venom obstructing AMS Roadrunner's view. The interesting thing, though, to notice, it's all 12Cs top 3, but behind, Roadrunner is running in the Corvette.
I don't think the guys in just the rear drive cars are wanting to see this weather getting worse. And this is the moment now. This is the moment where anybody in the Gallardo that's 574 with all-wheel drive, they have got to start making a move because laps are running out.
You can see there, that's the AMS 12C struggling to get the power of that McLaren down onto the track, especially as the track gets wetter and wetter.
Mellish, is this Lamborghini time? What's going on further down the field?
Not right now. It's Roadrunner in the Corvette C7R coming off at NASCAR Bend. You said that's tricky, turn 3. It swallowed him up and chewed him, spat him straight back out just in front of Commando. He's maintaining that lead, but at the moment he's way out now. He's got so much distance in front of him.
Yeah. That third corner, very tricky, easy to overdrive it. And as the conditions are changing here, this means you've got to start searching for grip. It's not always, Ali, the perfect racing line where you get the grip here. And you've got to start thinking about how much curb you can run, particularly on the exits, without spinning those rear wheels up and snaking the car across the track.
You're right. People will be searching this track, looking for grip on strange places, you know, moving away from the racing line where there's all that rubber that gets slippery when the water starts falling on top of it, and just trying to find a little bit extra in braking, trying to find a little bit extra in cornering. Rossi's getting that right.
Yeah.
Hard BR's getting it wrong.
Yeah, and we've got the top three almost together as the battle for 8th and 9th is running. Force 1 is further up the field in 5th. But this now, oh, is it getting, this might be me just being optimistic, but is it getting slightly brighter? I'm not sure. The guys at the front in the two-wheel drive cars want to see less water on the track, but I'm not sure that they're going to get their wish at the moment as we're heading in now to the second half of this race.
Yeah, who knows? The rain might be clearing up a little bit. Might be just be VIR playing its nasty old tricks on the eyes once again. We've got Lightning here running in 8th, so difficult start here for the third place finisher in the individual competition.
Yeah, but it's all about the team now. Got to think about the team. At the moment, we've not seen any team tactics play out because, again, we haven't seen team members running together. So we haven't seen anyone tag teaming their competitors or making room, moving them over. The guys are all running their own races at the moment. I think it's just survival out there right now.
It is, exactly. It's survival. It's waiting it out. It's so difficult to find two lines, to throw a proper overtaking move down when the wet is all over the track. You want to just follow along and wait for someone to make a mistake, and that's just what Hard BR is doing on Venom there. Nothing separating the two of them, but there's no way around that 12C for Hard BR.
Oh, look at that mistake on the grass. There'll be no grip whatsoever there. Both lucky not to get picked up there by the cars that came through. I sense the leaders getting away just a little bit as that mistake from Lightning has knocked him all the way back down to 9th position. And, oh, he's not happy now. Does that mean he got a little touch, I wonder, because he's muttering away to himself there. And that to me suggests that may not have been just a mistake of his own making. 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, pretty much all together behind Hard BR. Mellish, what happened to Lightning? Did he jump or was he pushed?
No, it's just there's frustration with himself there. Made a slight mistake because the puddles, the wet surface is making, there's no traction whatsoever for these guys. He came off during the snake and he actually maintained it really well. Even though he went off, it was damage limitation, damage control. Great job from Lightning. He's in 9th. And unfortunately, AMS Europa in 10th followed him as well. Carbon copy from Europa, but both of them managing to survive, no damage.
Rossi has made his bid for freedom here. And if he was looking over his shoulder, he'd be delighted to see the scrap that's going on for 2nd place.
You're right, exactly. It's playing so nicely into the leader's hands that Hard BR is getting caught up here with F4H Venom. We saw BR just behind previously, waiting for Venom to make a mistake. He got that golden moment, and he's taken good advantage of it.
McLaren making the best of the early running, and they're holding on to those early positions. The Corvette in there, and there is the Corvette going through from Hard BR at the moment. I'm really surprised we haven't seen the Gallardo coming through in these bad conditions. It's a quick car. It's a powerful car as well. Let's head back to Mellish for a team update on the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, guys, it's all happening for F4H. They're the most consistent team right out there. It may be Rossi finding his feet in the GT cars, but right now it's Venom, Racers, and Force 1 all together, all three, and they're just on the cusp of the podium right now. As I said that, though, Venom off the track at Oak Tree, but that's going to allow his teammate in the Gallardo pass by.
Yeah, blame Mellish for that one, hashtag. Yeah, this is the first time we've seen the racers together. And now the Gallardo with that four-wheel drive, can he make a bid to close down the gap? This is really interesting here, but that was a genuine mistake as the team member came out of the Oak Tree turn. Man, this is bad conditions. I tell you what, I think we'd be thinking about a safety car or maybe a red flag if this was the real world. These guys are doing a cracking job.
Struggling to keep those cars on the track. That mistake from Venom, though, interestingly, doesn't hurt F4H at all. They were 3rd, 4th, 5th before the mistake. Now they're 3rd, 4th, 5th, just in a different order. 10th
and 11th, AMS Europa and AMS McQueen. Can they work together? Maybe a little bit of drafting down the long straights to try and close the gap. That's what you've got to be thinking about at this stage. We're moving into the final lap next time by this stripe on this long curving front straight. Coming through again now. Well, this is working very interestingly for F4H. By far the best result of any of the teams. And I get the feeling now that people have already worked out, Ali, that you don't have to take top position here if you can pack your guys together and get a good, strong finish in, you know, the top 6 or 7.
Yeah, just look at JSR. JSR Rossi leading the race, but
Where's
his
the rest of the team?
teammates not up there with him.
Nowhere.
Exactly. So I would say F4H right now probably leading on points when we're leaving round 1.
Yeah, JSR down there in 8th position, as well as leading at the moment. So what does Rossi do? Does he chance backing everybody up behind him and try and let his teammates, because there's a bit of a battle pack from 3rd on down, or does he just make his bid for glory and take the points for the lead?
I think he's just got to take the safe option this time round. I mean, Rossi, maybe a little earlier in the race, could have backed them up, but the gaps are so big now. He'd have to really work on hard BR to get him back into the F4H boys.
Forza Racing Championship 2018 Pre-season Invitational presented by IMSA at one of the most picturesque IMSA circuits, VIR, heading towards the white flag next time by, as they come through in these conditions that started overcast with a little bit of fog and have just come into rain. And this is about the Teams Championship, and F4H are playing the team game 3rd, 4th and 5th with 3 different cars, the Corvette, the Gallardo and the McLaren. 3 very different machines, but they have done their job. Rossi out front with a clear track.
Such a unit, such an incredible unit that F4H are running this race together, close, a pack of 3. That makes it impossible for anyone to attack
agreed.
them, and it makes just their lives so much easier bringing these points home.
How close do you get as the team? Because what you don't want is one of you guys at the front to make a mistake and clean everybody up. It could happen. It could happen. That's the thing about precision driving. And they are under pressure now. Look at this. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, pretty much all together. 4th, 5th and 6th at least. Pretty much together. Venom just having to defend, but it's his teammate behind him. Now these guys have got to work together. The next runner is another AMS, and that means that AMS have got the lead and 6th position.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised to see it the next big overtaking opportunity, which will really be Oak Tree. The C-Force 1 and Venom going side by side into that corner and maybe blocking out the potential move from Roadrunner.
Last lap, halfway around. And let's head back down to Mellish.
Yeah, guys, just want to let you know that this is an F4H brick wall. It just seems so impenetrable there. And Roadrunner's just having such a hard time getting around. He's got the pace in the Corvette. He just cannot break the mold at the moment. And I think that's a great job, great team spirit for the F4H guys.
And if you look at how F4H are driving, they're just like you do when you drive an Echelon and motorcycle. It's just half a car's width, a side out from underneath the rear spray that's coming out from those rooster tails. They're just making the road look very, very narrow indeed for Roadrunner to try and get through. And as many, perfect. It just does look like a wall of F4H racing.
Brilliant stuff from them. As we come around Hog's Pen for the last time, though, it's not going to be an F4H victory.
No, Rossi has done a great job. Relaxes as he crosses the line, takes a breath, big thumbs up. But what is his teammate done? The best next, I think, is in 6th position. F4H coming through 3rd, 4th and 5th. That is what team racing is all about.
Absolutely right, absolutely right. Massive kudos to F4H there. JSR take the first win, though, and that's something to build from.
The points differentials, interesting. Would you rather take the win and a 6th or get everybody in that top 5?
F4H are looking strong now because they're coming into race 2 with the grid order from the end of race 1. That means they're a unit from the start.
That is the key point that you've made. That's a very good point indeed, because you can start now as you mean to go on. And even if you don't move forward, you can make it very, very difficult for anyone behind. Now, I don't know how that'll change maybe Rossi's tactics, because he's going to be off the front row for the next event. Man, he looks wiped out. He wasn't looking at the back of anyone else, but that concentration has taken it out. I mean, we didn't see much of him because he just blew away from everyone else, but that was pretty much a perfect race from Rossi. You've got to say fair play to him.
You know, I've always wanted to see Rossi do that at a ForzaRC. He's so fast. He's beaten me so many times on Forza. I always wanted him to win.
He's beaten you so many times?
He's beaten me.
That's not an exclusive club, though, is it?
It's not a very exclusive club. And the thing is, did it take removing the pressure of the individual racing to make Rossi shine as a team representative?
Scott, fantastic. You're going to take the rest of this through to its natural conclusion. We'll have a look at the
let's look
Michelin
at the Michelin
moment.
moment. Why not? As hard BR looked good early on, but seemed to fall off as the race progressed.
Yeah, you've got to give it to Rossi. But hard BR, had the lead, running down the long back straight, the secondary pit lane just to the left-hand side there. But look, this was early on in the race, Ali, and the conditions in terms of visibility were bad. It would get worse later on when the weather came down.
Well, as the conditions got worse and worse, your braking zones changed dynamically lap on lap. Both of these drivers are guessing where the braking zones are. They're just saying, I can go later than you. They're not saying I can go here. They're just saying I can go later than you.
Down towards the hog pen and really hard charging from both of those guys. What do you reckon?
They talk about running with clean air. What about a clean windshield?
Well, yeah.
I think that was worth something for Rossi. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. And I think, as we have more of it, that people are going to work out what they need to do. And what F4H have done there is they've clearly sat down beforehand and they've worked it through. The other teams now are playing catch-up. They're playing catch-up on the points. They're playing catch-up on the grid positions. But most importantly, they're playing catch-up on the tactics.
So if we happen to text you later on in the season, say, hey, can we get John back out here for some more races? You got to give us a 50-50 shot, right?
I'm in, man.
If you're not down at Long Beach or something like that.
I'm in for this. Guys, look, this has been brilliant. I love this new excitement. I love this new strategy element that's been pulled in to Forza. It's always been a great platform, and the racing's always been great. I think there's more to come for this. I think team racing is here, and it's here to stay.
And a 15-minute race is a lot better than 12 hours at some points.
There's always something to talk about in a 12-hour race, as
you
know, having been down
there
the Mobile 1 12 hours. Hours of Sebring. Can you take anything from that, from what you were watching that very carefully, Scott? Can you take anything from that as to how the next 3 races might go for the team's championship?
Well, I think with Force One, racers, those guys are going to be fast anyway. But they seem to come up with a strategy where they allowed their teammate to come up from the rear and sort of join them. It's almost you wondered if, hey, could Force One have pushed up into a top 3 or even a top 2, but wanted to wait back because they're, like you said, they're thinking 4 races out. They're thinking the next 3 races, this is just race 1.
And I think what we've got to look at is how they line up in terms of the grid for the next races and how many of the team members are close together. Shall we have a look at the
let's
results?
look at the provisional results here before we go through adjudication. So this could possibly be the grid. Second time around, of course, Rossi just ran away with it. But you can see.
Look at the team names. Look at the team names there, Scott. TX3 in second, but the F4H guys packing together. EMS then, JSR, JSR with 2 in the, is that enough? 2 in the top 7? I'm not sure. And then 9th for the 3rd member. It's going to always be the 3rd member of the team that you've got to look at, Ali.
I look at those F4H drivers, all 3 of them together, and I see a big Pac-Man mouth. It's going like that. Because it's going to be eating up TX3, eating up JSR, just like cherries. That's going to be what's happening in the next race, I think. It's because they've got that there. AMS... bad performance in the first race, but it actually catches them all together in the back part of the pack as well. They can team right now and maybe push themselves forward.
Yeah, you see the 10th and 11th out of them. And we talked about the AMS boys being all good guys, being a great team, but are they talented enough to be successful?
We're still going to need pace. When you're talking about motor racing, you've still got to have the pace. Doesn't matter how good your tactics are, you've got to have that raw speed and that will to get to the front.
Well, Shannon's standing by with the team leader of TX3. She's standing by with Lightning.
Guys, I'm here with Lightning, and after that crazy race, the first thing that I want to know is what happened when the lightning, the fog, the rain, all of that started happening.
Yeah, we didn't know exactly what conditions it would be. We just had varieties, so we didn't know what exactly to practice, and that was the rain is just a big trouble for me anyway. It's hard to get traction in the rain, and it's very interesting to see what kind of races go down in the rain.
But what happened to you?
Didn't know the track very well. I don't really like the track personally, but I didn't really do too much practice on it because I knew it was going to be a bad track for me, and I was just going to go with the flow.
So you went off track when the weather got bad?
I actually went off the track before the weather went bad. The first turn, there was barely any space between me and the grass, and as soon as I clipped it, it just pulled me in.
So that's disappointing. But this is the first event that you and your team TX3 has done together. You got Mr. Jack, who was in 12th, if I got my numbers correctly, and then Hard BR in 2nd. I may be wrong, but provisionally, and you in 8th. How does that fare, for you guys? What do you do going into the next event to come back from that?
We're just going to try hard and try to gain some positions. We're here to just try our hardest.
Is there a component that makes this more difficult because you're out here to win individually? I've talked to you a bunch of times. You're competitive, but you guys have to work together. How does that come into play?
We just have to be on the same page and just try to work out as the race goes on to see what happens.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens in this next event. And first of all, we've got to figure out what the results from that first one.
All right, appreciate it, Shannon. I saw a little pun. Is it a good pun if you have to sell it? She sort of sold it to us. Lightning.
Yeah.
Lightning.
No, I liked it. I liked it.
I
Yeah,
did
I
like
like
it.
the
I did like
delivery.
it.
I like the
Solid
delivery.
bronze.
Gold star.
Solid bronze.
All right, I think are we close to getting some results? We should be. We're right around the corner here.
I don't think there was that much there that I saw, certainly, that maybe needed the adjudicator's hand involved.
When you got
in
that much weather, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah.
At that point. Well, we appreciate you being here, man. It's been a learning opportunity for us. It's this guy's dream come true, I can tell you that, John.
It's been a blast. Thanks, guys, for letting me play in your house. And come back to see us anytime at IMSA. You know you're very, very welcome. I know you enjoyed Sebring, and we've got a lot of great racetracks to go, a lot of great old-school racetracks, and, of course, they're all going to be on Forza for your competition this year. Good luck.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks so much to John, guys. You can make sure you check him out on IMSA. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we will have those final results for you, so stay tuned.
All right, it's time attack. Let's go. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
I'd like to have super speed, just to go wherever I want in the blink of an eye.
Time travel, so I could go back and cover the mistakes I have made.
Anything in particular?
Yeah, quite a few.
Be able to fly, because I would be able to go anywhere, anytime I want.
Being invisible.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
What's that?
Something that drives you crazy.
I hate when people walk slow in front of me.
Annoying people? Oh, hang on a minute.
People eating with their mouth open.
People eating with their mouth open.
Babies on flights.
If you were a car, what would you be and why?
A Ferrari P4/5. It's a one-off like me.
Dodge Viper, because it looks good, it's fast, and it's just great to drive.
I'd be the new Corvette ZR1, because I'm going to work for GM, and it's a pretty cool car. So
An Aston Martin Vantage, because it's just really classy and sleek. I want to be classy and sleek.
A Porsche. The best all-round car.
I'd be a Porsche 918. Because it's got really good intent to go quick.
Pagani Zonda, because it's really fast and it does look really nice.
Ferrari 458 Italia, just because it looks good.
All right, folks, welcome back. And I don't know how I feel right now. I feel like Van Halen just played, and now I'm going to come up here and play my ukulele for 40,000 people after following John. We do have the final results, though, of that team race number 1. Let's take a look at these official results. As you called it, there you are, Rossi, Hard BR, Racers, and then it's just a slew of F4H.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I'm still slightly recovering, Scott. You know, when you've been holding your gut in so long. And it's just,
And look, that's how it adds up. So although they didn't take the checkered flag, they are on top by 2 points with JSR right behind them, with Rossi doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
You know, I love the F4H were the team that were rewarded with the most points after that competition, because they were the ones who did the most outstanding team drive. And I think that's going to be a big game changer for a lot of the other teams. When they see that, when they see what happens when you drive together compared to what happens when you drive apart, they're going to change the way they race.
And like I said, you thought that, you know, maybe Force One could maybe have pushed himself into it like a top 3, but then that would break the wall.
Exactly. It would have broken the wall, holding himself back, being reserved, allowed them to control that race, just put a cork in the bottle right there and just say, no one's going to come through. We're going to forget about the guys up ahead of us.
Well, ready for race 2. Let's welcome back in Mellish. And what do you got for us this time, my friend?
Well, we're returning, man. We're returning to Sebring.
Yes!
Not in the Veninos anymore. This is going to be in 3 special, very, very special cars, all bringing different things to the game. We can cover Sebring again, but we know the score. We know what it can bring in the Veneno race. We're going to see what it can do with these cars right now. We have got the 458 Italia. Ali, I know I'm going to pull on your heartstrings when I say this. It's meant to be the all-rounder, but I think there's a lot of controversy on that. It is going to be the most difficult to drive here. Bearing in mind, all 3 cars are mid-engine and rear drive, apart from the Acura, which is new to Forza Motorsport 7, the Acura NSX. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes the four-wheel drive again. Last flight we just saw the Veneto, that was four-wheel drive again. So who's going to play that same dynamic? Who is going to be taking the risk in the McLaren 570S? Who is going to be taking that Ferrari? I know you would, Ali.
I'm kind of partial to the NSX myself.
Get out. No, yeah, I respect your opinion, but it's wrong. It's wrong. The 458 is, by the way, just the most beautiful car ever made. This is a fact. And now we have that sorted, we can move on with the race.
By the way, John left his water here. If you want to, maybe put that up on eBay.
This is mine now.
I'm nervous. I'm real nervous for it. Let's take a look at the grid here for race number 2 of our team races. I am actually really enjoying this team concept right now. Rossi out on front with that big win, but we talked about that 3 through 4 through 5. That's going to be hard to pass if you're anybody beyond them.
Yeah, the F4H team have done such a great job just getting themselves together, sorting themselves out in the first race. Now they can move on with the competition.
Now time for race number 2. And we head back to Florida. It is Sebring. They're in Highlands County. And we are rip-roaring and ready to go. Can Rossi hold off? Well, he's already fallen back here early.
Rossi getting bullied already by racers who wants it around the outside of turn 1. He's going to get denied that chance. Rossi staying in there. So TX3, JSR, their 2 top representatives still control the front of this race. But just behind them, that baying horde of F4H drivers are going to be looking to just get the tip of the wedge in and then drive the whole thing open.
And you talked about how aggressive Hard BR was. Well, right off the start, he knew he had to jump out in front, so Rossi's going to fall back to second place here. Venom is the one leading the charge for F4H as Rossi gets slow. Craviator now off on the side as well, coming in on the access road.
Taking one of the F4H drivers out with him. That's Racers. So the guy threatening for second position at turn 1 all the way down to 6th now. Hard BR looking at that screen with a little bit of intent.
Yeah, he's using the dominant eye at that point. But you think JSR Commando finally just said, all right, I'm done with this. You guys can't ride together this entire team competition. Takes him off on the side.
There's the JSR team Commando on the right there, Craviator in the middle, and on the left, that's JSR Rossi. You recognize him from the individual competition.
Yeah, he ended up winning, taking the checkered flag for our first team race of the day. There's Amos Roadrunner in 5th. Racers now in 6th. Craviator is right behind him after he got forced out onto the grass.
There we go, back through the rear of this course. The curves here are so difficult. You have to be pinpoint accurate.
Collier curve, Sam Collier. You know, the first race at Sebring was the Sam Collier Memorial Race way back in 1950.
It's up the road there. The battle for the lead is heating up. That's hard BR sliding the rear on the way into 17 and throwing it up the inside of Rossi. I love that move, but both drivers are still saying, where are my teammates? Where's my defense? So I'm fighting here for the lead, and no one's holding my back.
Sunset bend, but it's a little overcast here at Sebring. Mellish, what's going on with Craviator?
Man, he's losing places hand over fist, going on to Le Mans straight. He just can't find his feet in the Acura. He's not, it just looks like the preparation's not there, or maybe he's just, you know, he's so scared in that car. It looks like a very good, difficult car to drive, and he is losing places. There we see Mr. Jack just like pipping him into like the top 10 there, but he has got to find his game, and he's got to find it quick.
Yeah, he's way far back. He's not helping out his teammates at all. Rossi's sort of been the lone wolf out in front for his squad.
Yeah, Rossi's throwing the chain over his shoulder. He's dragging his teammates along with him. See how it goes. F48 split up there by an early accident, so they're still trying to get back together, but you can see second place in this race is that F4H Venom driving what I have to say is an absolutely beautifully painted 458. That gets me slightly hot under the collar, I'm not going to lie.
Going through hairpin, through the Fangio chicane, coming up on that turn 10, the Cunningham corner. Ooh, there's hard BR.
He's dented the Ferrari. That's a disqualification. I'm talking to Evan.
You're not allowed to sway the adjudication. Even I know that. Come on now. So Venom running in third, Roadrunner in fourth now, but Hard BR is the one that's really trying to bear down. He wanted to make a name for himself, and I feel like the team competition maybe lessens the load for him. He can feel like he can just go out there and run his game.
Moments of brilliance from Hard BR. Moments of brilliance. You see him shine so bright every now and again, then he'll just have a little bit of a moment, crash the car, run off the road, and he'll still have to come back. But yeah, this guy is showing signs of greatness in the future.
Check in with Mellish once again. A little bumping and grinding out there, my friend.
Yeah, the action is tough and it's hard and fast, but I just want to really point out 3 different cars, 3 different racing teams top 3. So these cars are just beautifully level pegging right now. It's all down to the driver ability, and I have to say, great job from Rossi.
And I feel like these cars, I know you're going to disagree with me, but they do have some strengths and weaknesses, but all very adept at getting the job done.
They absolutely are. Yeah, I mean, this is a brilliantly balanced race. I agree with what both of you guys are saying. It's all 3 cars having different strengths and weaknesses around the track, but at the same time, no one car, like we saw the 12C in the first race, is running away with it this time around. So Rossi, though, he's looking a bit OP out here.
What happened? Was it the Bubba Burger? I don't know. Something happened. We went up to the rooftop. It was 30 degrees. We had a warm Bubba Burger. And here comes Rossi down, and he's laying the smack down.
You know, I'm loving it. He's looking zoned. He's looking composed. And this guy is looking like he could take wins every single race here. But the victory for JSR is going to depend on Craviator and Commando. Where are they, and why aren't they at the front?
BR still in second. You can see Venom falling back to third. Roadrunner just running along there in fourth place. Craviator's got to watch out, getting a little squirrely up on the curb. Got to be very careful here. I mean, any points that they can get to help out Rossi is what you need. I mean, the difference between 4 and 6 could even be huge.
I mean, I think I just saw Commando off track there in the JSR team. Up ahead, Craviator's fighting like crazy to keep Mr. Jack behind him. So that's 9th. Or 8th and 10th, 8th and 11th for the 2 other JSR drivers. Those guys need to pull their socks up. We've got Mr. Jack here in that TX3 458 trying to find his way past the team leader of JSR, Craviator.
Now, I'm looking at my notes here. I don't have it confirmed, but are we going to reverse grid in 3?
We'll be in a reverse grid, yeah. Absolutely right.
So where does that strategy come in? If you could finish first, and then you can look back, I don't know. You can't be running in the middle of the pack. That's all I can say. And that's where Roadrunner is right now, right, Mellish?
Yeah, man. He has to. Word down the grapevine is that AMS have to get one of their drivers into the top 3 to remain in contention. Such an early stage of these races, in fact. And he's going to get the opportunity right now. You can see how hard he is pushing the car here. It's actually beautiful on the throttle there. Look how smooth that he is changing those gears and the steering input as well.
Almost 3 wide as we were coming back to the start-finish line, coming around turn 17. You can see the focus there from Roadrunner running in second.
There he is, round the outside of Venom now through T1. Keep in mind, this is still on the original concrete here at Sebring. This is on a road that's
three
bumpy.
wide.
Oh, that braking, you just hold your breath looking at it. It's crazy to watch. Lightning, they're doing both of them. And that is why Car Lightning, TX3 Lightning, I should say these days, is so, so fast. He's just able to take opportunities like that.
Car is no more.
Yeah,
all right.
I know. Be still my
I'm going to
beating
bring
heart.
you up to date. I know you haven't been around for a few months. And so now Lightning is really bullying his way. He's gone up 6 spots now into second place. And that's what can happen sometimes. You'll have a battle between 2 drivers. Next thing you know, the third will just come right by.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And this is all stuff that Rossi loves. He's out there in the lead, gapping second place just by a huge amount every lap. And that's because Venom's throwing a move on Lightning straight away after Lightning's throwing a move on Venom. And these 2 guys are just dancing corner to corner.
So we're in lap 4 here at Sebring. This is race 2 of the team racing here in the Forza Racing Championship. This is our 2018 Pre-season Invitational presented by our fine folks at IMSA. And right now we are in lap 4 of 8. Let's check back in with Melich. What's going on, my man?
Hey guys, you know, it's the same story, a carbon copy with JSR right now. Rossi leading the way. Perfect performance with this guy. You could just see the preparation that he's put in, but he's not the same. His teammates are not doing him justice at the moment. They're at the back of the pack. Commando and Graviator really not gelling with the cars right now, and they're having to fight AMS, who are also desperate for points.
I'm still putting this out there, though. If Rossi finishes first, then we reverse grid, and JSR has 2 guys in the top 3 at the next pole. Is that not a strategy?
Yeah, that's not a bad shout, Scott. To be honest, those 2 guys will be able to control the race from the front as we go into race number 3. So maybe a long game here from Jap Speed Racing. I've got to say that's pretty charitable of us to say, because to me it looks like they're just towards the back of the pack.
Hard BR continuing to fall back. He's looked strong in early races, even in the Invitational. Looked strong early, but as the race progresses, he slowly starts to fall off the pace.
It's so difficult to stay on it all the way through. The concentration, when we saw after race 1, John was commenting on it, how exhausted Rossi looked. And this is exhausting stuff. Every single race, the energy drops, the concentration drops, and all it takes is one little moment, and you're off the track.
By the way, that's Mr. Heinhoff. All right. I can call him John.
He's Jay-Bird to me these days.
No.
Jay-Bird.
You're not going that far. Melich, help us out. We've lost control over here. Hear the sounds of these 3 amazing cars. The drivers pushing them to their absolute limits. Rossi out in front, Venom in second, AMS Roadrunner right there in third. We're riding along with him, and you can see in his, well, not his rearview mirror, but our reverse view of him, that Lightning's not too far behind.
Not too far at all. These drivers are doing great. You're seeing the Ferraris now starting to rise to the top of the race. The 458's maybe having a little bit more pace than the other 2 cars. That's, of course, the Acura. Yeah, Acura's an interesting one. I think that's a four-wheel drive car. Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the Jerry Seinfeld car? Or is that a Saab 900 Turbo?
You're going to have to tell me, man. Both beauties. Both beauties.
AMS in third. There you see Lightning battling him. Back in the back now with Force 1 in 5th. He's got hard BR, so we got that 2nd through 6 is starting to become a logjam.
Yeah, you're right. It's been a great battle all the way through this race. And look at that defense from Roadrunner pushing that Lightning right up to the wall down the start-finish straight. Lightning's earned his space on the inside of AMS Roadrunner, and the 2 of them are now going to power through turn 1. There they are, side by side, down towards the 2nd turn, and Lightning has made that move stick. Super close stuff between those 2. I love watching them race. They're good buddies, and you can tell how much respect there is between them on the track.
Really surprised Force 1 in that turn 1. Needs to get a little bit closer to the wall so he can carry that speed up through 2 and 3 and set himself up for 4 and 5.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So important, your line through turn 1. You know, they say at Sebring, you can tell if your lap's hot or not after turn 1. And I find racing around here, it's just so hard to keep your concentration because you screw up turn 1, and then you kind of just go, well, I'll just kind of chill this lap and I'll push again when we get to the next lap. That's not the way you have to do it. You have to just pick yourself up, shrug it off, and power through all the way around the lap as Venom makes a mistake.
Venom getting off a little bit on the side. Force One running in 5th. What do you see out of him, Mellish?
Man, you could just see, like, he is under braking performance. He is perfect right now. Look at the temperatures as he takes these corners, man. He is hard under brakes without locking, so he's not losing any of the performance. He's not losing any of the speed, and he's gaining ground, but he can't go anywhere. It's just an absolute battle in front of him, and you can see his teammate Venom desperately in need of help here.
And Roadrunner and Lightning side by side. You talked about it, Venom. I mean, this is a wild pack of dogs right now chasing down Venom.
Venom, yeah, doing a great job to back this pack up a little bit maybe. Roadrunner and Lightning squabbling away, and Venom making an opportunity for his teammate to come up there and support him. So Venom may be doing a great job here to back up the pack.
And at this point, Rossi's just got his feet up on the dash, shoes off, Bubba Burger in hand, and just cruising around Sebring here in Florida. And you can imagine 12 hours of this concentration, especially when the sun starts to set and it's right in your eyes. It's going to be a tremendously difficult track.
It's a very, very difficult thing to do. We're riding on board here with the TX3 Acura. Looking forward up the road. That battle.
It's got to be hard BR, and it is. He's got racers behind him. See racers here. He's getting into a little bit of scuffle. That 7/8 position. See if he can close the door on TX3.
You know, that TX3 458 driven by Mr. Jack should be higher up the order. All the other Ferraris, all the other 458s are performing here at Sebring. Mr. Jack may be letting his team down a little bit, having the faster car and not bringing home the points.
Or have they decided if he doesn't have that car that he's going to finish 12th? You know what I mean?
You're mean. You're mean, Scott.
Sorry about that, kids. Right along 3rd is Lightning now. Roadrunner in 4th, Force One in 5th. And I know we talk about Lage and Lightning, but you're starting to see Force One be one of these guys that wants to find himself in that upper echelon. You know, he splits time between real-world karting and Forza, and he's good at both, which makes me sick.
Right, though? I mean, Force One just knocking at the door every single day, just like, let me in there. I want to be in that bubble at the top. I want to be one of those top 3 drivers in the ForzaRC. He's knocking at the door. I don't know if he's there yet. He's still very, very young, still in development with F4H. But you know, it can't be long, right? It's a matter of time, when, not if.
So Venom up there in 2nd, riding along with the racers. He's still trying to hold off Mr. Jack. And, you know, that's the strategy there is, you know, is at this point, is Racer's full job here just to ruin Mr. Jack's life?
Yeah, there it is, you know.
Yeah, he's not gonna get 6th. They're way out in front. He's just gonna slow down and just I'm not saying block them, but take a very defensive line.
Absolutely right. Final corner here, and Racers throwing it deep. Is that the final corner? It's the start of the last lap. I'm getting confused here, but nonetheless, Mr. Jack making it happen on T17. So a nice move there from the TX3 458 to get around the Acura of F4H.
Final lap here, late 8 of 8. So let's check in with Mellish one more time.
Hey guys, yeah, heavy reliance here with 2 of the teams at the moment. Rossi leading his pack. Great stuff from him, but Commando and Craviator right at the back of the top 10. They're not going anywhere right now, and this is where they need to make up points, you know, before we come to the halfway point in this championship. And it's also the same for AMS, McQueen, and Europa not being able to pull their weight and relying on Roadrunner here. So those 2 teams need to buckle up.
Swagging out with a handbrake. Sorry, buddy, you're in 8th place.
Yeah.
Let's get to the front of the pack here. Let's keep it right here if you don't mind. Venom. That's where the real action's going on. Rossi's already, I don't know where he is. He's already halfway to Road Atlanta by now. But so this is the action. You got Venom, Lightning, Roadrunner trying to make some moves here. And for Venom, he knows how crucial these 2nd place points are for his team.
You hear that little tap, that little tap. That wasn't Lightning accelerating into Venom. That was Venom dropping that car on the apex, backing Lightning into Roadrunner again and saying, Force One, here's your chance, buddy. Race is ending. You've got to get through into 3rd.
trying to slow down the pack. They know Rossi's already gone. The question is, can Force one? He's a bit off the pace there, about 3 car lengths. Can he catch up with Roadrunner? And Roadrunner is steady as it goes. I mean, he's been fourth for both of these races here. Just can't seem to get around Lightning or Venom.
Exactly. This is the moment, though. He needs to get the power down now out of T16, get a run on this pack. It's not going to happen. Venom accelerating up the back straight here towards the final corner, and he's going defensive.
Got to stay on the inside here. Lightning trying to get on the outside. Here on 17.
Ooh. Look at that nose going in the inside.
Gonna pick up a spot here. Venom will finish second. Roadrunner, I believe, was fourth at the very last moment. Lightning somehow returns and grabs that third place finish again.
What a crazy finish to that race. That battle coming alive there for second. Venom couldn't seem to do enough to get Force 1 into that race. He was doing everything he could. His whole toolbox of skills was out there on display. I'm a block over here. I'll race you. I'll drop it on the apex. And Force 1 just not able to find that pace to take third or fourth.
Now going through Sunset Bend, how confident Lightning was, knowing that Roadrunner was on the inside, that he might even have the advantage, but that wider turn on turn 17 is the line that's going to give you the most speed. Ends up regaining at the very last moment, and those are some key points for his team.
You're so right. You're so right. You know, I was talking to the Ford GTLM drivers out in Sebring, and one of the things they were saying after the interview was that the concrete out on T17 and T1 does not rubber in the same way as the asphalt. It doesn't get grippier as fast as the cars run around and leave those big black lines on the track for you to come over next time round.
Gets bumpy on that turn 17.
It gets bumpy.
They were not only bumping each other, they're bumping along that old concrete. Let's take a look at the Michelin moment. This time it's Roadrunner. Just could not make a move, just riding in fourth for seemed like forever.
That fight he had with Lightning was top, though. That was side by side for a whole lap almost. But this is his move on T17. Remember this, throws it in there. Great line on the way in. Lightning's wide. He's going to take advantage of that and almost collects Venom. Just manages to control that 458 that wants to slip around on him.
And it looked like maybe even a little bump between Venom and Roadrunner that might have slowed down Roadrunner just enough. But how does Venom have the aptitude to say, okay, I'm blocking Lightning. Oh, no, I got to block Roadrunner now with the defensive line and holding on to that second place. I know we're mentioning a Roadrunner here, but it was more a, really showing how that Venom was able to close the door there.
Venom, playing whack-a-mole, right?
Yeah.
They're popping up and he's knocking them down. It was some great driving from him.
And because of his driving style, Rossi was just like, I don't know. I at least still don't know where he's at. And I think he finished about 13 minutes ago.
He's in a whole other world right now, isn't he? He's in a whole world. He's so locked. He's so ready to go. I want to see Rossi going out there on the reverse grid race. I've seen him do incredible things, carving through a pack before. I wonder if that's going to work at the ForzaRC. I suspect, like we were saying before, there's a pack of 12 aces here, and it's not easy to get through.
Well, it's team racing, but Rossi's earned individually 40 points. Let's take a look at the provisional results here. Back-to-back provisional wins for Rossi. But Venom, the real story there, he just decided, hey, I was going to slow everything down, and I think you're right. He was going to see, can Force 1 at some point maybe move into fourth or third? Wasn't able to do so, but Venom was trying to buy him time.
He was doing his best, wasn't he? And that's what you need to do. We saw F4H succeed with that tactic at VIR in the first round. Why change it? Why fix it if it ain't broke?
Well, they look pretty strong thus far. Now we're going to flip the script, and you're going to have some guys at the back that will maybe have a chance for JSR to get some points. That might be enough to push them off. But at this point, if you're F4H, you got to take the checkered flag here in these last two races.
Exactly. You just have to push like crazy. You just have to go for it. I mean, F4H now at the disadvantage right the way back at the rear of the grid. But JSR all the way up there, they can control the race from the front. I think it can make up for a little bit of a differential in pace if they can control the top.
Well, we got a lot of great drivers out here. But this is one of your wild card guys. Hard BR making some moves out here, at least making it interesting. We were able to catch up with Hard BR.
My name is Philippe Reis, my gamer tag is TX3 Hard BR, and welcome to my city, Juiz de Fora, Brazil. This is my school where I'm studying to be electromechanical technician. My passion for cars always come about racing, so I use it to watch F1 and stuff like that. Everything that got racing, engine or wheels, I always use it to watch it. We have on Forza the opportunity to race cars we will never drive. Came here a lot when I was a child. It's my favorite place to go in the city. In Portuguese, we call it Mar de Montanhas, the Sea of Mountains.
Para mim é como se fosse sonho que eu tô vendo concretizar, porque eu cheguei a jogar um tempo, mas não consegui acompanhar o ritmo. Então para mim é sempre um orgulho muito grande estar vendo ele jogar.
Eu acho assim excelente. Eu acho que ele tem um talento incrível, o mérito dele, ele corre, ele busca atrás.
A gente está sempre em conjunto apoiando.
This is the center of Juiz de Fora, where I like to hang out with my friends.
Eu apoio meu primo e falando para ele continuar no ramo, que ele corre bem. A trajetória do meu primo foi sempre assim, né? Ele sempre foi fanático em carro, sempre gostou de carro, de corrida. Desde pequeno ele só jogava, né? Sempre jogava jogos de corrida e já sabia que tinha um futuro.
Seattle is going to be very exciting to me because we are getting back to the racing road, and I think that's the first step to start a great championship over the year. The main focus is to be the guy who everyone thinks is the best. So Carl Edge, Roadrunner was champion on Le Mans, so he did it pretty well. So I think it's a rival in potential. It's very different. You're racing by a screen and facing the guy face to face. You always get way more nervous when you see the guy playing with the controller in hands. You have to face that and keep calm. I prefer racing stock cars that everyone got the same car, the same stuff to work. So that just proves the skill. I know I have the pace, I can do it. My motivation is really to be a winner. It's never really about being famous. You just have to focus on what you love.
Hey guys, I am here with Hard BR of TX3 Racing, and what a race that was. There's a lot of strategy going on, it seemed like, with the other teams. Did you hear any of that? What was going on?
I didn't hear so much about the other team's strategies, but my team is just trying to keep everyone in the fastest car they can, so then you can extract the max as you can of your skill, then put it in the track.
You started out really well in the first race, and there was all kinds of commotion in the second race. Tell me what happened from the first race and then moving on to the second.
But, well, on the second race, I had the worst car, so I couldn't do much more than I did. I was just trying to keep people behind me and trying to save as much points as I can to the team.
How did you all determine who was going to drive what car?
We do a session with the guys, and we try to see who's more comfortable on which car. Then you can just run comfortably and fast.
And what are your strengths that kind of led you to be in the car that you were in for this event?
I mean, just running comfortable with it. So that's what you need to run that car. So that's not too much secret on that.
Did you see any of what was going on ahead, or were you able to talk to your team after the event to see, what was going on with Lightning as he was up front in this last race?
Yeah, we were talking during the race, so he was keeping me updated of what was happening. He was just battling with the guys, so trying to get some good position. He made a good way up, so that helped a lot in the points for sure.
Cool. So do you feel confident going in this next event now that you guys kind of have a rhythm going and you have a strategy now?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, we are trying to do our best. It's kind of different, but for sure it's different. And yeah, that's not so much to say about it.
Yeah, I want to step back to what happened earlier. I saw a tweet from you. In the individual races, you weren't really happy with your performance. So elaborate a little bit about what that tweet said and kind of what that meant.
It's just I got a new controller before the competition, so I couldn't really practice. That made me really sad because I know I had much more pace than that. I could be better, but I mean, that happens, it's racing. I just try to pace more for the next one.
Yeah, and your family, I'm sure, is at home watching you. But you've come back, and it seems like things are kind of onto a new rhythm for the team races. Tell me about what you think on that.
Yeah, I just try to clean my mind to now because it's a team competition, so I cannot just think on myself. So I'm trying to do my best for the guys.
Awesome. Well, good job coming back and getting in a rhythm. There's lots more to come. Let's find out what the results from that second race were.
All right, thanks so much, Shannon. Well, it's good to finally get to visit with Hard BR. And we have the official results of this team race. Boy, it's going. We're still waiting. We need more time. We need more time. They need me to tell more anecdotes. By the way, I do.
You just had one in the barrel. You just had one right there.
When it comes to gamers, there's a couple excuses.
Yeah.
And the controller or the mouse or the keyboard is usually in the top three. It's just the controller. The other one's lag. I'd be great, but lag.
It's
lag.
rarely the thumbs, isn't it? It's rarely the thumbs. The issue was the thumbs putting the inputs into the controller. Yeah, I mean, there's always a shoulda, woulda, coulda, and that's the great thing about this competition because we're kicking off an event. We're not here finishing anything. This isn't the end. This is the Forza Racing Championship starting in 2018.
Yeah, that's a good point to take a moment here. If you're enjoying the broadcast, if you're like, hey, I think I'm pretty fast, I'm pretty good at this game, you can take the opportunity to go out to ForzaRC.com and sign up for a chance to race. Of course, I hope you're watching on at watch.forzarc.com. That's where all the interactivity is happening with the voting, and I think we might be seeing some Road America coming around the bend.
I love Road America. We've been there once tonight already.
You guys had an epic race.
Wasn't it a great race?
I was sitting right here just going, sure, when. Okay, there's two things that either happen. They were the best two races of the day, or John Heinhoff is pretty good.
I want to get some B-roll of like a hashtag feels bad Scott. Just you sitting there like waiting.
Guys, I want to call a race.
When do I get to play?
Turn 7? Okay. All right, let's take a look at these official results. Rozzy back on top. He's accounted for 40 points himself. Venom doing a nice job closing the door with Lightning right behind him. You saw it at the very end, Lightning and Roadrunner. That's enough to get 2 points for Team TX3. Here's the overall totals here, Allie. So F4H still out in front, 57 points. But JSR on the back of Rossi, only 6 points behind.
Yeah, look at that. Rossi with 40 points scored so far. Absolute monster. He's a beast. 25 for Venom, but it's a better team performance for F4H. So that's Force One and Racers, the two kids on the school trip here, being looked after by the big adult Venom. Lower down the order, TX3. Managing to beat AMS. I mean, I think that's going to be a little bit of a sticking point for Roadrunner, just because him and Lightning are kind of good buds. You know, I think he'll want to beat TX3.
The bad news for AMS is our team, you, myself, Mellish, we're only 22 points behind, and we haven't even raced yet.
Yeah, we haven't touched a controller.
And that's got to be disappointing because you know Roadrunner, he feels like he's such a good racer, and he's proved it, right? But I don't know. It's just not in the cards. But for TX3. They really almost need a podium finish here. They'll really need almost a 1-2-3 to try to put them up on top.
And keep in mind, for these team races, you get extra points for podium lockouts. You get 5 extra points for a 1-2-3, and you get 2 extra points for a 1 and 2. So there's everything to play for as long as you can get those top results.
Well, we're hoping for Road America. Mellish. Did we get there?
That's it, man. You know,
well, that's where we're headed.
Yeah. Fate has returned to us. We're going back to Road America. We just visited that in the Aston Martin. We're here now, back with GT cars once again. And we're going to have the Porsche, the old classic 2011 Flying Lizard Porsche. This car needs no traction. It's rear engine, rear drive. It is just buckets and buckets of understeer compared to the other two. The new addition to the GT is going to be the BMW M6. Great car, got lots of acceleration. Just kind of bogs, though, during the gears, through those corners, and that's going to be one to look out for. But then again, we're going to Road America, so there's not going to be that many gear changes, and it's going to be fantastic to watch, guys. Can't wait for that one.
So they've downgraded you to the hand mic, huh? You can't.
Yeah.
Well, if you wear a
I think I sat
T-shirt
on the other one, so
if you wear a T-shirt to work, you got nothing even to put it on.
No,
man.
no.
You sat on
I'm
it.
just propping it on my
We
belly.
need to start flying your wife to all these events so someone can dress you. It's just,
no.
it's just.
I'll file a complaint. Don't worry.
All right, we're done with you. Let's head on to the next. Love that guy, by the way. Love Malice, by the way. No, but seriously, Road Atlanta with these 3 cars. I mean, I think this is going to be. What car do you think has the advantage here? I'm leaning toward the
Audi. Okay. Audi, just like bang that button. It's the Audi. It's the speed car. It's a speed track. Road America. All those straights down towards turn 1. Turn a little corner straight down toward the hairpin. I mean, Mellish was super useful to me. It was super helpful, I should say. Useful, helpful. I was going into.
I just gave the guy a hard time.
I was going into an endurance
on.
race. I was going into an endurance race and I was like building this car and tuning it. And I had all the downforce on it.
Yeah.
And he raced it. I was like, why have you taken all the top speed away? It's way easier to overtake on the straights than it is on the corners. Why do that to yourself? You can overtake on the straights in the Audi, and you can hold them back through all of those turns. And that's what you have to do. That car is going to be the car to beat at Road America.
All right, guys, let's take a look at, what do we have the grid here, right? The reverse grid? So you're going to have Europa up on top. Cradier will be number 2. Commando 3. So that's what we're talking about with JSR having the opportunity here with Rossi with 2 great finishes. Now can JSR, in the way of Cradier and Commando, be able to hold it out and get those points to get what they need?
They need them.
Reverse grid, the time is now. Can the folks that have been well back in the pack finally be the lead dogs? That's the question here.
Yeah, JSR, they need to turn things around, or at least 2/3 of their team do. Rossi's got it sorted.
Well, at least he's got, when it's all said and done, he'll be ready to go. You say, hey, I took I took the checker flag twice. What more do you want out of me? Race 3 of 4 here in the team races here at the Forza Racing Championship. We're here in Seattle at the Pre-season Invitational. And we're all green and we're ready to go. And Europa, for the first time in his life, is out in front.
Yep, Europa leading from the front in that Audi as well. That top end, that R8 is powering down the back straight here. It's hard to pick a braking point in your first lap as you go down towards the hairpin. These guys are going to be all thinking about out-braking each other. You can see an F4H car out there in the middle of the road, somewhere back towards 6th position.
And I think that's great strategy. You talked about the speed car of the R8, and you know that, hey, you're going to be out in front, you're going to be on the pole. It's time for you to put the hammer down, put the power down, and get out there.
It is, exactly. The BMW here, that's going to be a little bit more difficult because this car loves the corners. It's actually not so easy to get around the corners. It can do it pretty quick if you get it right. But it's easy to make a mistake. You can see, though, F4H's BMW sneaking around the outside of the JSR Porsche.
Let's go get a quick update from Mellish on our point standings.
Hey guys, I just want to put it out there straight away. I made a blunder. I forgot about mentioning the Audi R8. And what a great job here. It looks like Team TX3 from AMS, because Europa has not had the greatest results so far. And he is away at the front in the Audi R8 because he's got so much straight line speed. Great job.
Commando getting off on the side, still not on the hard stuff. Finally gets some traction there.
Yeah.
So Commando started off in 3rd and just not been his day.
His agent will be writing a sternly phrased letter back to Stuttgart and the people at Porsche, because that car is not behaving itself at all. Commando fighting for 3rd position, though, and that's up against F4H Racers. So Racers already up to the second place in this race, and he's been someone we've seen at the front before.
So you got Racers. Force One riding along in 3rd now. Lightning in 4th. Along with Hard BR, you see Rossi has already made his way from 12th to 5th. And it just proves how fast you are. I mean, if you're starting at the back of the pack, you're already in 5th. We've only gone through, the second of 7 laps here. That proves how fast Rossi has been.
Yeah. I mean, you look on the GT leaderboards on Forza Motorsport 7, and that is a name that you're going to find there, just hanging out on more or less every car track combination that you can find. JSR Rossi knows his way around these tracks in one of these racing cars. I mean, It is impressive, though. We looked at Lage. Remember Lage on the reverse grid race in the individual competition earlier today? He crashed out. He knocked himself right into the back of someone and was way at the back. Rossi, he's won both races already, and he's slicing his way through this pack already in front of AMS Roadrunner, Mr. Jack, a whole bunch of other people.
Well, Lightning and Rossi got off on the side there, and Lightning comes by. That's going to be an interesting one to look at later when this one finally concludes. That's going to cost Rossi 2 spots. Dives back down again to take that 6th spot away, trying to hold on to it. Can he? No.
Beautiful from Rossi. Beautiful. You see the braking onto the apex, slams the car in there. Absolutely perfectly judged that move. And yeah, deserves to have found his way past 2 of the TX3 drivers there. So TX3 not doing an effective job here in teaming together and blocking out another team's driver.
Yeah, close for Lightning there to getting all 4 wheels off the track once again. And we talked about it. Would TX3, we know he had a lot of talent on that team, but would they be able to work together for a common goal? Racers now pushing his way into first. Let's go over to Mellish and talk a little bit about these bonus points.
Yeah, guys, we haven't seen them really in action. You know, F4H have been priming themselves up for a double overtake. Like, you know, ousting people off the podium. They're currently 1st and 2nd right now. M6 for races, he's just got that beautiful smooth driving. He's able to get away with all the clean air. And then you've got the second guy in the Audi R8, and he's just got all the speed. It's not over for him. He's definitely getting challenged, but his bonus points currently right now.
Yeah, that's right. 2nd place, Force 1 there. So Force 1 and Racers leading the way, the 2 youngest people out there on the track. Where's Venom?
This is key. Their team's in the lead by 6 points. Coming into this 3rd race, even with the reverse grid, you can see the cream slowly rising to the top here on Road America.
I love it. I love it, Scott. JSR Rossi, what a race it's been for him so far. 6th place, all the way from the rear of the pack. We're looking over his shoulder right here. See the master at work. See what those thumbs do.
Riding along with the number 9 car here in the BMW M6. There's Force 1. It looked very confident. Remember, Racers in the individual on the reverse grid, he took home the checkered flag. So he's loving this reverse grid format.
You're too right, man. Like, Racers has just been waiting for a chance to get out front, to be able to lead the race, dominate the race from way out there. And we see Commando out there on the outside of the carousel. He's given up. He's parked that car up. That's a shame to see. His first offline competition with JSR Commando and dropping out for 1 race. But Racers, the 2nd reverse grid race in the Forza Racing Championship, our 2nd reverse grid race in the Forza Racing Championship. He's winning it again. That's a 100% hit rate for the young man from Silverstone.
And how much of a killer is that for Team JSR, who Rossi's been dominating the first 2 races, and they do a reverse grid, and Commando can't hold up his end of the bargain.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Rossi. He's the nicest guy. He'll never do it.
I'm doing it for you, Rossi. That's not good, man.
Yeah, Scott's got your back. Scott's got your back.
Currently running around in 5th. He's got Europa behind him. McQueen all the way back in 11th. That's what we're riding on with right now. He's at the back of the pack. But in the middle, that's where some action's going on right now. There's Europa, part of that AMS team, trying to chase down Rossi. You see Lightning right behind him. There's Mr. Jack. TX3 looking sharp in that black and green.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. Great paint Sunday, isn't it? Lightning moving up this pack a little bit now. Lap 4 is 7, so if you're going to get a good finish, you've got to turn it on now. It's going to be too late after this.
Huge track, 4 miles around this, really a piece of heaven in Wisconsin. Let's go to Mellish once again with talking about Rossi and his domination.
Yeah, guys, you know, the JSR crew, Jack Speed Racing, are really heavily relying on Rossi's performance right now. He got Commando dead last. That is not where we expected to see him. Craviator not doing much better, and you could just feel that tension here. Just look at how Rossi is changing down gears. He is, you know, any faster, and he's going to be getting engine damage because he's just bouncing off the rev limiter.
So this is what they mean when they mean going Commando.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
That's right, yeah.
I
Well, we've got the desk
I
here.
wasn't familiar with the terminology, but
We've had the
apparently
desk here
that's,
all day.
you pull your car off to the side, and you just kind of hang out where everybody races around you for 7 laps. Lap 4 of 7, right along with Roadrunner. See if he can finally make a move here. Feels like he's been chasing down Hard BR for about the entirety.
I'll tell you what, Force 1 was running second in this race. He's down to 5th now, so we've missed something there.
He dropped back.
Force 1 dropping through this order. RBR, he's absolutely zoned. Look at that, 2nd place. He does not want to lose it.
Leans forward, get the head tilted down, fully locked in. Roadrunner trying to keep to the pace here. He's been fast over the last couple laps. Starting to pick up the pace. Now Rossi's moving to 4th. You mentioned Force 1 just falling back just a bit. Mellish, we didn't see it, so how come Force 1 dropped back those 3 places?
You know, I didn't see any action myself, but just looking at the telemetry on the screen, guys, you can definitely see that he's scorching his front tires. They're at 17%, whereas his back tires are just 9.0. He is definitely maybe locking up under brakes, and when you do that in a car that's got natural mechanical understeer, that's when you start to lose places, and this track is really unforgiving.
Very great point, Mellish. He didn't see it, but by using the technology and the telemetry, able to see why Force 1 perhaps dropping back a few spots here to 5th. At one point, it looked like they might have had this thing locked up. They had, you got Razors out in front, you had Force 1 right behind them.
I'll tell you what, though, Rossi is now challenging from last on this grid.
Yeah.
He's challenging for the podium. What a race it's been for the Scotsman, fighting now with AMS Roadrunner for 3rd place here at Road America.
And you talked about his teammates haven't played well, but his teammates have been the one that's sort of hyping him up and getting him ready and sort of trying to give him that confidence, that killer instinct. Right now, he's trying to press hard down onto 3rd place as he's right on the bumper of Roadrunner. You can see how close they are as they go into the Continental Tire Bridge.
I love this BMW. When you see it going through a fast corner, it's got this slip angle to it. It looks like it's hanging the rear out wherever it goes. Fantastic to watch. RBR here in 2nd, chasing down races. I think that's all the Bimmers now on the top 4.
We were talking about how the speed of that R8 was going to be the factor, but it's actually the handling of that BMW has proved. Well, it's got a wide body kit on as well, so it's not only great around the curves, but it's a good blocking machine as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a
BMW
good
drivers, what can you do?
Oh, my wife is watching at home. I'm sorry. So we are in lap 6 of 7. She was in a Toyota Corolla for like 12 years. We had to upgrade, man.
I was looking at him off camera. I was giving him a look.
So 2 laps left. Let's check in on Commando here. Mellish, what's going on, man?
Man, I got it completely wrong. I thought he was just having a real bad race. It's even worse than that. He is deaded on the sand. He's building sandcastles right now, and it's just not looking great for the JSR team because Rossi is piling more pressure on Rossi, and there's only so much pressure that his shoulders can take, and Cravier needs to just start buckling and pulling his socks up, man.
That's desperation. When you got the Plantronics headset off,
yeah,
you're just done.
I know. You don't even want to listen to that
Look at
Porsche
that.
bubbling on idle.
Put the headset on at least. Come on.
Poor old Manda. I mean, Mellish talked about them piling the pressure on Rossi. Rossi's piling the pressure on them in some other ways as well, right? They won't be feeling good leaving this event unless they can get a strong finish in the upcoming race.
Getting close, getting back to the start-finish line as Lightning and Force 1 are battling it out. This is a long track. John was telling us earlier, I think it's the longest on the IMSA circuit.
Side by side into the kink here at the back. That's a gutsy move.
Nice job by Force 1 taking that 5th place away from Lightning, but it's not over yet.
It is not. Lightning still wants. He's on the outside, coming down towards that slightly fast hairpin. And here he is around the outside. Can Lightning hold in there? If he can keep his nose in there it is. Keep it on the quarter panel. And he's going to have a left-hander.
Yep.
This could be his move.
Force 1's got to keep up the speed here. Got to keep it tight. Lightning trying to push forward there into this Turn as we come down.
Look at
the
that.
Road
That's a
America
run.
straight, and a great job by Force to hold him out, but Lightning still not satisfied. He's going to keep the hammer down here on the straight.
That's right.
Turn 1 here, the final lap. The white flag is out here in lap 7.
What a cracking Barney these two are having. Force 1 and Lightning going at it. Last lap, both of them in the same car, the Audi R8.
Race 3 of 4 in our team competition here at the 2018 Pre-season Invitational presented by IMSA. Boy, we've had a good time today, and the good news is we still got one more race after this.
Still got one more to go. F4H, though, so strong in the teams. Who knew? Who knew?
Lightning able to take that 5th position back. It was only a matter of time. He was being very aggressive. And I think for F4H, they got more to lose. As you see, Force 1 starting to get a little squirrely there on the outside.
It's so easily done. Look at that.
Contact.
Too strong on the defense there from Force 1. Is coming in, clipping Europa, not leaving him any room on the inside. I wonder if the marshals will take a dim view at that, because it did give him an advantage.
Here's 2nd and 3rd place. That's Roadrunner. That's where he's been all day. He hadn't had much help out of his AMS boys, but he's been running strong just like Rossi has, who's in 4th place. Remember, he started this race in 12th. It was a reverse grid after him winning back-to-back checkered flags. If he can get a top 3, boy, you'd have to think of him as sort of the MVP at this point.
He's OP, that's what he is. JSR Rossi, he needs nerfing.
Razors out in front. Hard BR got a little wide there on the outside. That's going to give up some space. See Lightning there sort of looking over his shoulder of his teammate. He's going to hold on to that 2nd place. Almost gave way for Roadrunner, but then Roadrunner, it seems these, although these BMWs are having some success here late, they're starting to get a little wild.
Yeah, ducking and diving there. They'll come up the back straight, though, and that's finishing order up top.
Racers, Hard BR, Roadrunner, Rossi, and Lightning Force 1. That is your top 6 provisionally. Is it enough for JSR? Rossi doing all the heavy lifting. Commando ends up with the DNF. He was dead off on the side. But for F4H, was it enough with Racers? Hey, in both the individual race 3 and the team race 3, he ends up in the reverse grid taking the checkered flag.
Outstanding. Go on, Racers. It's already been a great event from him. I'm already chuffed to bits for him, and he's done it again. He's done it again. So he's proved it isn't a fluke. Look at that Craviator on the right there, his face saying the story. He's looking a bit fed up.
Hopefully Racers and his family, they've been tuning in all day. Hopefully he's still awake over there across the pond to see their youngster have an opportunity to have some success here and start to talk a little bit of getting eight. When you win you saw the makeup lady there. When you win a race,
you get makeup.
It's time to
we make you prettier.
Now, I've won absolutely nothing my whole life, but somehow I got makeup on. So I've already disproved my own theory. Let's take a look at the Michelin moment here in race number 3. And it was a hard-fought race. I love seeing these 3 different cars on the track, this team play.
Yeah.
And it was Lightning that just kept pressing.
You're absolutely right. Lightning did a great job here, and Rossi as well. This was Rossi's move on Lightning. I think Lightning managed to hold him off just about. It was this long way around the carousel, though, and then back onto that, back straight and down towards the kink. I mean, these cars are so interesting together. The interplay of them is so cool because the R8's got that top end, whereas the M6, the BMW, it's got loads of grip around the corners and not much on the straights.
And a tip of the cap to the Gfinity boys, especially Evan, a.k.a. Race Boy, because he picked this trio on this map knowing that you were going to have a great mixture of straights and a good mix of curves here and there, some left-handers, some right-handers. So a tip of cap to the Gfinity boys.
Absolutely right. Very much the architect of this action right there. I'm loving it.
The evil architect at some point here. I'm a little sad. I didn't get a call of VIR.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to get it.
I waited 8 months.
Yeah.
Waited 8 months for the
I'll
opportunity.
send you a video of me going around.
Thank you.
can call
And
that.
I can just broadcast that in my house.
Yeah. I'm getting a VW Beetle.
Well, for right now, it's going to be interesting. Once we get these official results, we haven't got the provisionals yet, but once we get the official results, moments from now, it's going to be interesting if it was enough, if Rossi pushing from 12th to 4th was enough, but you got some teammates that are giving you donuts and 1s and 2s while you're out there taking 20s.
Rossi, there's no two ways to cut it. He loves his team, he loves his teammates, but he's going to feel disappointed by what's happened over the last 3 races. I hope there's one race to go. I hope that JSR team can make that up a little bit to him.
It's going to be interesting to see then when it comes down to this final race. I do believe the drama is still going to be there. Let's take a look at the provisional results here of that race 3. Team races, first time we've ever done that in Forza. And you can see racers holding on. It was Force 1 with a little bit of tire wear that found him losing grip and falling all the way back to 6.
I've got to say, if you look at the breakup of teams there's no 2 drivers from the same team starting race 4 next to each other.
So Rossi, it's a great point, but Rossi's got to get some help. I mean, it just keeps blowing my mind. And we've seen Craviator be fast. I mean, Commando, as you mentioned, this is his first live event. He's sort of fallen off the pace. Venom, didn't see much of him in that last race, but he ended up finishing 9th. So is a 1 finish, I think it was a 6 for Force 1, and then a 9th. Was that enough? Let's go down to Shannon McIntosh, who's standing by with one of the members of F4A. She's standing by with racers.
Well, I am here with the winner of that last team race, Racers, and this morning I called you the up-and-comer to watch, and turns out it was true. This morning you won your very first race ever, and here you've done it again. Tell me how it feels to come out on top twice in one day for the first time ever.
Well, to be honest, it feels absolutely ridiculous. Like, coming here, I didn't expect to be too near the front at all. And so it's really, really cool feeling to be able to, take home a win for my team and myself and the individuals. So it's a great feeling.
What have you been doing to get ready for this moment? We've had a big gap between the last time that we were all together live in Le Mans and now. And you said you weren't going into this with a lot of expectations, but I know that you must have been preparing to get ready. What have you been doing?
So, to be honest, I've been preparing more recently, so I did a lot of stuff in the last 2 weeks before I flew out here, because what I usually do on Forza is I keep my pace sort of at a sort of pretty good level, but then I really try and turn it up a notch before the ForzaRC, because that's when it counts, obviously. So that's what I've been up to over the last 2 weeks.
You told me, it means a lot to be able to do this for your team, and I spoke with Venom the other day, and he told me that for your team, one of the most important things is clean racing. You guys really, really focus on that. So tell me about how that has maybe come into play and helped you as a team, come out on top and score these points.
So F4H, my team, is really well known in the community, I think, for our ability to race cleanly. And you get some teams which are really good at qualifying, maybe not so good at racing, but F4H definitely prides ourselves for our ability to turn up to a race and race really well. So I think we're doing quite a good job of showing that today.
Now, you've got one more race. And, I was speaking to Venom just a second ago, and he said, you guys are just kind of trying to calculate and figure out where you are. You think you're pretty close up to the top as far as, the points and getting that together. What do you know where you are right now, and what do you do to figure out how you're going to get up on top for this next event?
So we think it's very close between ourselves and JSR. We might not be right. That's just what we're thinking from, the side there. We're just excited to see where we end up, to be honest. And I don't think we're going to think too hard about it, because we don't want to put on too much pressure on ourselves. But I think we're in a pretty good position, which is really good.
There you have it, guys. He's polished, only 17 years old, the up-and-comer to keep in mind for this next race. They're going to be ones to watch. Let's see how they finished in this previous race.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Maybe a guy that's...
Some Forza 7 before breakfast?
Let's get it.
Let's do it. Wait, what? How long? some Forza 7 before sunrise? Let's get it.
Bubba Burger, proud sponsor of the Forza Racing Championship.
If you had to go live on a deserted island, what 3 items would you take with you?
Guitar, another guitar, and a third guitar. Why not?
Phone, a boat to get out, and then maybe some beer. Water bottle, something to start fire, and something soft to sleep on.
Water, food, and my Xbox setup.
My children.
You got 3 children.
Forza, Xbox, and a TV. Yeah.
Perfect. Fuzzy dice or air freshener?
Air freshener.
What smell?
Pine.
New car? Lemon.
Like a axe kind of smell.
Okay. For dates? Date night?
I don't even know.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
3.
So why are you just a 3 driver?
It's one of my favorite numbers. I'd say an 8.
All right. Why is that?
Well, I'm here, I guess, so.
What about real life?
I was going to have to go down the rank. I'm probably a 4. Just on the way to the airport, I thought it'd be dating in the back of the car, so 10.
Why is that?
Everyone tells me that.
Probably like an 8 because I can't qualify.
I would never say 10, but I would say like maybe 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Why?
Just because.
You're the best.
Yeah.
10, obviously.
In real life?
Yes.
Say a 6.
Going to welcome you guys back. This is a team competition, so we had to bring our team back. You know what I'm saying? I heard you weren't doing very well. They were telling me in the back, they're like, Allie's not doing very well. It's a team competition.
No.
Can we get another driver out here? And we got one. So John's back with us, hanging out by popular demand, and we're glad to have you here for this final race. We're still waiting on results. I think we have them. Do we have the provisional results at least, right? Final results.
Ooh, okay.
Let's take a peek at them. So this is official. All adjudicated. Racers with 20 on top. Hard BR 15. Roadrunner with 12. The question is, are those enough to move their teams up?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think, you know, F4H have done such a great job early in this competition. They need a big swing. They need a big swing.
Look at
there
that.
it is, you see?
86.70 for the second place TX3. That'll almost do it, except for a you know,
a nightmare.
A nightmare would be the point.
It could happen. It could happen. What I've been impressed at is how F4H have stuck to that task, because you know after the first race where they clearly had a tactic, but because Rossi had won that 5-point gap, they actually they weren't as far ahead as I thought they would be when the arithmetic was all done, and I think they've stuck to that task really well, and that has played out for them eventually. They haven't panicked. They haven't changed their tactics. I think pretty good. Fair play to them. It's worked for them.
I know it's team play, but we got to at least note here, Ali, Rossi has 50 of his team's 63 points.
Yeah, Rossi alone is beating AMS.
Jeez.
Like, he's got that. He's got that on lock. I mean,
I wasn't going to get that savage, but okay.
Well, that's what we said, in the second race when he was driving away, when we were back in hospitality there. Rossi is carrying the rest of the team. And, I'm sorry, but the rest of the guys in that team, they need to step up. Even a couple of places further up, they'd be challenging.
All right, it's time to get ready for race 4. This is for all the marbles. This is where we're at. And the key thing we don't know yet is what's going to be the track and car combinations here. But that's why we got Mellish that's going to hang out with us, still using the stick mic.
Oh, no.
Still in the T-shirt. Welcome. Tell us the track of the cars.
Well, if you were it's like the pinnacle of racing. I've been waiting for this moment because I practiced it for myself, even though I was never going to be here. And it was kind of like, it's going to be Laguna Seca. It's going to be Laguna Seca in the fastest track car combination you could possibly imagine. It's not Audi Quattros anymore, guys. It's not Audi Quattros. It's going to be the Mazda P2 car, and we're going to have the Chevrolet DP and the Riley DP. And that is going to be the most excellent track car combination there is, because if you look at the cars there, the Chevrolet is a great all-rounder. You've got the Riley, who's got the top line speed, and the Mazda has got the pace around the corners. That's going to be interesting because it's all to play for. It's going to be team tactics in this last race. I want to see who picks the Mazda.
That makes it very interesting, Mellish, at this point. So, guys, when you think about the corkscrew, you think about the rainy curve, which car is going to have some trouble?
I can make a case for all of them. You know that?
Yeah.
The Mazda, that 2010 Mazda, that was the Dyson car. That's always done well at Master Raceway Laguna Seca, in the place that bears its name. The Konica Minolta car, that has bossed the last couple of seasons. But the 600 horsepower of the older Chip Ganassi Racing Riley, that's a compelling combination.
For me, Laguna Seca is a driver's track, though, as well. I think any one of these cars could win it this time because it just takes that special something behind the wheel.
We don't have to wait any longer. The moment is now. Race 4, the final race here in the teams.
So here's how they line up then. This is set from the last race results. We still haven't seen people coming off the line, guys, being able to get their teams together and build that wall as we saw F4H do in the early part of the competition.
I think if you could, maybe Venom, who's riding along the 9th, if he could somehow get up there in his final race, Laguna Seca, who is going to be in the Mazda, and take this thing home.
It's a toss-up here, guys. I mean, F4H, it's all theirs to lose at the moment. They've got to keep their cool. They've got to keep their concentration off the line, and we're racing down towards the first couple of corners down at Andretti Hairpin.
Yeah, the Andretti Hairpin. It's going to be big to see what these guys are going to be able to do. So much undulation on this track. We talk about the corkscrew. That's really going to be sort of the linchpin of deciding, can F4H hold on? A little rubbing there on the backside. Here in lap 1 of 11. It's our final race of the day here in the Pre-season Invitational, brought to you by IMSA, live from Seattle.
These guys just biding their time here on lap 1. Force 1 scoping out the 2 TX3 drivers up ahead. TX3 getting a good start here, and they're managing to clump together a little bit.
Going through turn 6, big sideways moment there. Oh, and that's exactly what nobody wanted, an early shunt. And that's going to, well, fortunately, it was further towards the back of the pack than I thought, but that's lightning.
Yeah.
And he's got damage there. There's no way he got away without damage there.
Worst of all, though, he caught his teammate, Mr. Jack. That's 2 of the TX3 drivers well out of it here on the final race, the Forza Racing Championship Pre-season Invitational.
And Mr. Jack, I think, has got some damage there, hasn't he, Scott? Because that car does not look like it wants to turn.
You can't push it that hard. And I think, oh, man, you can see him right now. He can hardly even keep it between the lines. And that might be it for Mr. Jack.
And that might have just confirmed handing it over to the guys at the top of the charts. Let's see what Mellish has got to say down. He's watching the rest of the field. What's going on, Mellish?
Well, as we're coming to the top of the corkscrew there, Hard BR was the only TX3 member not to accumulate damage. The other guys have got full-blown body damage, suspension and brake damage, and they were really in contention to challenge F4H. I don't think that's going to be the story anymore.
Well, he's got to win now and have F4H basically all retire and not finish. He's got to get the 20. He's got to push hard to have any kind of chance at all. He is the last bullet in that gun.
With all the carnage, Venom able to move from 9th all the way up to 6th. So that's more points accumulating for F4H.
Yeah, F4H doing a good job here. They're looking strong. Racer's in the lead one more time. He's won twice already here. We know he's got it in him to carry it to the end of the race. He's got to have that consistency and keep himself neat and tidy through the corkscrew.
So there's a bit of fluid down on the circuit there as they went through. That's going to be detritus from that earlier crash.
Still a long way to go in this one. I know the lead is huge for F4H as far as teammates go. And for Rossi, I don't know if he ended up getting caught up in the carnage as well. He's running all the way back in 9th.
But I tell you what, second place in the championship is up for grabs here, with the guys taking themselves out. They didn't have that huge thing. So if Rossi can get the MS guys together and start pushing them forward, they've got half a chance of becoming vice champions here.
Yeah, for sure. Rossi, just needs to lead from the front. He's been doing it already. It's not, he'll do his thing. He'll push like crazy. I've got to say, though, I'm loving that Commando and Craviator 5th and 7th this time around, because JSR need to support Rossi. They need to give him the chance to really push for that win.
Yeah, EMS Europa going side by side there. Come on, guys, racing room, you've got to do that. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. These cars, incredibly difficult to pass around here, Ali, because you are relying on the aerodynamics, so that really shortens up the braking areas here.
Yeah, you're right. You're seeing a massive dive bomb from the JSR driver in the Mazda. That was out of this world. Yeah, hard to pass around here. I think assertive passes like that, just go for the dive bomb, throw it in there. That's what you need to do.
At this point, it's race 4. What do you got to lose?
No.
I mean, you might as well put it all out there. We've had a great day of racing thus far, all the way through the invitational of the individual side of the racing. But this team aspect, I was a little unsure about, but I can tell you what, it's been an absolute blast.
And I think we've got people thinking there's a lot of chat going on behind the scenes from some of the guys who have come to cover this about the tactic side of things. I think we've got people talking about this. Melish is watching. We've got some pit lane callers, Melish.
Yeah, there's definitely some pit lane action here. F4H are making their first ever pit in this team event here. It's Force One, got loose at the bottom of the first part of the corkscrew, just lost the back of that Mazda. Into wall he goes, but he's managing to get through the pits now. But like, he was trying to help his teammate out. You could just see the steely determination, so credit to him. He tried it, and it just didn't work out.
It looked like he was sort of doing the math in his head, too, of how far he's going to be down when he's coming out of the pits.
And it's all about them just getting enough to stay ahead now, Ali, in terms of the team's championship.
Force One, we saw there just coming out of the pits beside Mr. Jack. You had a tough start to this race, but we're on board with the race leaders now. Roadrunner fighting racers for that top spot.
Roadrunner has done a cracking job today. Came into this Forza Racing Pre-season Invitational for 2018 presented by IMSA as somewhat of an anomaly. Everybody said his win at Le Mans maybe wasn't deserved. I think he stamped his authority on this. I think he's come of age. I think he's shown exactly what he can do, and he's shown some maturity here, Scott.
Yeah, you know, finishing well in our in individual races earlier in the day, and now here in the team, he's sort of trying to carry that AMS group too far out to maybe, get themselves into first position. But you talked about, John, can they move themselves up into second and pass TX3, especially with all their collisions and carnage early in the race? Lap 5 of 11 now.
Well, this is Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, one of the tracks that's always been on the IMSA calendar. Jill Campbell and her team out there do a cracking job. Always a warm welcome. When we turn, the spin!
That's
right
Roadrunner.
That's Roadrunner's gone round. No way! We've cursed him again, guys. We've cursed him again.
And that is TCS. That there is having no traction control in the
Great
rear of that
point.
car, powering down on the exit to the corkscrew in the rear, just flicking around for Roadrunner. A big shame, and you're going to see that about as often as you see a hen's tooth, because Roadrunner knows how to use that right trigger.
Don't forget that Cadillac has the big engine, lots of torque, and that's why you need the TCS. Melish, what are you watching?
Just on board with Roadrunner with you guys there. He has got no damage. Miraculously managed to save it. It was like race driver turned stunt driver. Jane turned it out the bottom of the corkscrew just to get back on the pace. And he's actually battling with Craviator, so he has no wounds right now.
Did lose a little bit, thanks Melish, all the way back to 7th, pushing Craviator here in lap number 6. But it's hard BR. You talked about it last night at dinner, Ali, of this is a guy that could be an absolute wild card and win the whole thing.
I wanted Hard BR to have like a better showing out here, to be honest. Like, I wanted him to come out and just beast it. He's had a tough few races, but I'd be so happy to see him get a strong result here in the final race, end strong with his head held high. 3 very different types of prototype that might look similar, but you've got the latest version of the Cadillac, the DPI car, the Konica Minolta, the number 10 car based on the Wayne Taylor racing machine that was dominant last year and has started this year very well as well in 2018. Look back to the 2010 car. That's a much lighter car, has a smaller engine just with the 2-litre Mazda turbocharged engine. Get a little bit of turbo lag on that, and then the big horsepower of the Chip Ganassi Racing Riley Daytona prototype from 2015. A very different philosophy of cars, and we're seeing these cars put in similar lap times, but they're making their lap times in a very different way.
Different lines, different strengths of the track.
And that's what it's been all about in this team competition. We were crediting Evan, Gfinity before, for putting this smorgasbord.
Diabolical.
This diabolical smorgasbord. Let's put those words together together for us. And yeah, what a fantastic way to race on Forza. I've been loving it. I want to see more of it.
You're talking, John, about lap times. Let's see if Mellish has any word on lap times.
Yeah, man, it's actually quite spread out for such close, fast racing. These guys are about 1.2 to 1.8 seconds apart in terms of the best lap time and the slowest lap time. And it's really surprising to find that the Mazda, which has the best lap times around this track, cannot use its full potential. The fastest Mazda is Rossi, who is in 5th position. Top 4, Corvettes and Rileys.
He's leaning on the front tyres, though, on that Mazda, because he's trying to use that lighter, more nimble car to take more pace into the apex of the corner, and he's just scrubbing front tyres really hard to find the field. That's where these guys have to be so good. That's one of the big differences from real-world racing. When you turn a steering wheel, you can feel the grip from the front tyres, and sometimes you've got to back it off a bit. You don't get that same feeling. These guys are feeling that in their mind's eye. Brilliant driving.
You think he's overdriving the car? He's pushing too hard on the way in?
I think he's pushing too. I think he's trying to take too much pace into the apex. So from the turning in to the centre of the corner.
Lap 8 of 11 now. Talked about, we felt like the Mazdas would feel at home out here on the track. And really their home track. They've had a tough time climbing up the leaderboard. And I think right now you're sort of using a bit of strategy here of, you know, if you're Venom, if you're racers, you want to finish the best you can, but you don't want to force something that could cost you some serious points and maybe cementing the title.
To the corkscrew, the signature turn of Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. 3-story drop down there. That's sort of the Juan Pablo Montoya line through there from IndyCar a few years ago. There's a bit more hard standing where it used to be sand there. Great place to go and watch motor racing if you get the opportunity to do so. And if this has whetted your appetite for IMSA racing, March the 24th on the streets of Long Beach. Get onto your app store. All the major operating systems are supported for the IMSA app. And we've got a live onboard video, IMSA radio, and all of the good stuff that keeps you just a couple of clicks away from all of the teams and drivers of IMSA. And you can follow that. It's a short race. It's 100 minutes. It'll be fast and furious on the streets of Long Beach. Join us there March the 24th.
A lot of concrete, a lot of lower
concrete
gears.
Canyons, man.
A lot of lower gears going through that. A lot of slow hairpin turns. Let's go over to Mellish, who is noticing that Commando is having a good showing here at 3rd.
Yeah, man, it's a little too late for Commando, but he just found his feet all of a sudden here at Laguna, and he's charging on a hard PR. This is his best result so far, and it could change any moment as he gains the ground on hard PR.
Appreciate that, Mellish. Racer's still out in front. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to lose my mind here, but if he gets back-to-back checkered flags, I mean, the kid's something to look out for.
He is racers staking his claim. I love it because this massive season we have ahead of us. You know, it keeps reminding me every time I see him at the front.
We're just starting.
I just think this
we
is
haven't really even started.
This is this is the pre-season invitational. You know, emphasis on pre-season and racers coming out here. The young man just storming it at this event. I can't wait to see his season.
And anybody who's watching wherever you are in the world, learn, watch, digest, and then get your entry in. Because you can do it. You know, you can be there. You can be competing in these competitions that go right throughout the whole season.
ForzaRC.com. That's the place to go. Go get your gamer tag linked up to an account there. You can get involved in all of the different events that we have upcoming, racing, hot laps, all of it. Get yourself some Forza points and get on the world rankings.
Just 2 laps left here at Laguna Seca. This is our final race of the day. Race 4 of the team racing, race 8 overall. And I can give you 250,000 reasons to go sign up and race with us this season as the prize pool keeps just getting bigger and bigger.
Can I tell you something? That's more than the prize fund at the Le Mans 24 Hours.
That's right.
True.
100%.
In the real world.
100%.
In the real world, that is more. You race there for the prestige of standing on the podium, which is where the guy stood last year when Roadrunner took that title.
That's right.
But there is more hard cash in the Forza Racing Championship this year than there would be if you went to Le Mans running multi-million-dollar P1 cars. Just saying.
Puts it a bit in perspective.
And people say esports isn't a sport. Yeah, think again, everybody. Think again.
And let me be honest, 24 hours on your couch is a little a little bit easier to race around the track than piled into one of these prototypes.
I've got to get you guys to come and see me race one of these times. I tell you, out in the real world.
I'm down for it. Final lap. Commando, I don't want to let that be lost if he had a DNF in race 3, but he could have hung his head here, but he's battled back in this final race to have a strong showing here at Laguna Seca.
Takes guts, doesn't it? Takes guts to pick yourself back up off the ground and say, you know what, I can do this, I can bring this home. 3rd place, that's a podium here at the ForzaRC. He's come to the event, everyone knows he can do it, Commando, everyone knows he's one of the fastest, but he's being beaten by this guy, F4H Races.
And he's going to go 2 for 2 in the last 2 races. And we talked about the big more. He heads into the season. In motor racing, the adage is, you're only as good as your last result. His last 2 results are as good as you get. And he knows it. I like that. I like that. That's cool.
There he is.
Good stuff.
Give us the fist pump there. He's taken 3 checkered flags today. 1 in the individual round, and now 2 for his team, and that pretty much cements it.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Is he the winningest driver out there? Has he won more races?
He would be if winningest was a word, which it isn't. He is the most successful in terms of results today.
Get out
Hang
of
your
town.
head in shame.
I'm taking winningest.
So how many did Lage win today? He won he won 2. Rossi won 2.
Yeah.
Racers has won 3.
Correct.
There you go. The winningest driver. That's a gift to you, John. It's a gift.
Give me something to
The
hit him
most
with.
winningest
and just look at how cool he knows.
Yeah,
so
he
you
knows
know,
he's the man.
if you're talking gold, silver, and bronze medals, he's the top of the medal table today. He's the top of the medal table.
Yeah, that's a great point. He's led his team. Coming into this, we probably would have picked Force 1 as the strongest driver on his team, but Racers has been the one that's benefited.
How do you think that's going to affect him as he goes into the season proper?
I've been fascinated by Force 1 and Racers. They're such good buddies. The 2 of them have been practicing together. They've been getting good at Forza together. They both, they weren't up there at the very top a year ago. Both of them have gotten good together. They've been racing in all sorts of community leagues together. And now they're at the top. It's kind of like you can still be friends, but you're also competing against each other. You can't both win. Let's see how that plays out throughout the year.
How do you feel? I mean, racing in some of our other community leagues, maybe you've shaken more rust off than some of these other guys that only come out for the big event.
I think so. I think a lot of the time it makes you faster. It makes you more able to deal with the pressure as well of having a big final event, of going into a race that's an event, because you don't do that unless you've, apart from at the ForzaRC.
Let's take a look at the Michelin moment in our final race of the day. We're highlighting once again Roadrunner.
Great stuff coming
Maybe
down
not
towards
for the
end
great
of the lap.
reasons, right?
Yeah, well, great stuff coming down to the end of the lap and across the start-finish line. This start straight that bends just a little bit, getting a bit of air coming down into the braking area. Roadrunner's been great today, though. Generally speaking, he's been really great.
Well, he's the most consistent guy,
I'd say,
on the circuit. I mean, he's a 2nd through 4th. Sometimes he'll grab 1st, and that was the success of last year. He just hung around, and then when the door opened, he drove through it, Ali.
Exactly. He knows how to take an opportunity, and, he's an opportunist, like all the best criminals, and so he's gone in there.
Well, people said he stole the victory at Le Mans,
there you go.
But I think he's come back here with the pressure of that and being the last winner of the big show. And he comes into this, and I think he's shouldered that responsibility. He's driven very well. He's shown respect for the competitors. But I think he's developed himself here, and he's built himself a bit of a brand. Roadrunner is now a brand, and he's going to hold his head up high.
Let's take a look at the provisional results that has Racers winning his 3rd checkered flag of the day. It's been phenomenal. Phenomenal racing out of not only him, but F4H as well. As we're trying to get those results for you, then we'll get the official results. Here's the provisional ones. As you see, Racers up on top. How about Hard BR hanging around? And then Commando, tip of the cap to him to bounce back after that DNF and get a 3rd place finish.
And look at JSR, 3 finishes in the top 10. Now, where was that kind of finish earlier on in the competition? That would have put them much more in contention.
It would have put them in contention, but at least they now are redeemed. At least they can walk away and say, we could do it on our day. We could be up there. And it goes the same for Hard BR, who's had a tough 8 races today, and he's finally managed to get himself up there on the podium.
You know, you'd say that that wasn't the best of races for F4H, but they've still got first, 6th. All right, and a 12th with damage, but Force 1 came in, went back out again, make sure he got the points. That's still a really big haul of points. Fair play to them. I think they've got their tactics absolutely spot on in that.
And Al, you say several times in these short races, you would not go into the pits. Do you question Force 1 going in?
I always question when they go into the pits. It depends. I didn't see what damage he had. If you have a damaged engine, then you can't go over 60 miles an hour. You're going to lose a minute a lap. But if you're just losing 5 seconds a lap, you know, I say just, it's a lot. But you can never make the time back in the pits.
But at this point in the competition, he's playing backstop for the guys who've got the points further up. If there's something goes horribly wrong, he's got a car that can complete the race. If someone doesn't finish it all, then of course they're going to drop right down.
That's too true. That's too true. So maybe that's his thinking. Maybe that's smart stuff from Force 1.
I think you play the conservative game at that point when you're getting. They knew that they had a buffer in points coming into this last race.
So the final race is in the books. We're just waiting on the official results, but I tell you what, we've just had an amazing time here in Seattle. The crew has been great. The drivers have been great. And of course, we've loved, you know, hanging out with you, John, learning a lot about not only, you know, this racing, but broadcasting, all the things that anything you can do to help this guy out. We'd really appreciate it.
Well, look, you know, we get the honor, don't we, guys, of sitting in front of the cameras. We call the race. We have all the fun. There's a huge amount of people behind the cameras and on the cameras who have done all the hard work and put all this together. We just get to do the gory stuff.
Well, let's go over. We got someone standing by with Rossi, who's done really well today.
I'm here with Rossi, who in the team races just finished first in the very first and second races. I want to hear about how that went for you and how you did that.
Well, I got a good start in race 1, which is good. I managed to get past the like lightning and stuff like that were starting in front of me, and I ended up behind Zoom, and I was having a little battle with Zoom for a few laps. Then the rain started to come down. We're having an intense battle, and I managed to sort of make Zoom a little bit outbrake himself a little bit at turn 1. Once I passed him, I was feeling like a little bit nervous, just trying to keep the car on the track, just to avoid making the same mistake. So I just sort of dropped off my pace a little bit because I wanted to keep it on the track and bring it home in first place. Second race, I managed to, the two Acuras got a good start, but managed to get past them both in the first lap. And then I just kept my head down for the rest of the race, knowing that the people behind me were having an intense battle and they would consume time, like lose time. So I would just put my head down and just punted out the laps.
You said you were a bit nervous in the first race. You're just trying to keep it on the track. You wanted to slow up your pace because the rain was starting. It was really affecting the handling of the car. But one thing I want to ask you about related to that is you have a team here for the first time, competing at the same time. How much does that play into your motivation?
It makes it a lot more enjoyable because you know that you're racing with your teammates. You've got your teammates on track. You're having good battles with the rest of the teams here. So it's just great fun, like this event being implemented for the first time in the Forza Racing Championship history.
You know, you mentioned the other teams here. You guys can all see each other, which is an interesting component because right across from you is racers who won the second 2 races. So tell me a little bit about what you think about these young guns, these 17-year-old guys. You've been around for a while. We know your name, but they're coming up, winning races. What do you think that is going to happen as we continue moving through the Forza Racing Championship?
Well, it's a good influence to have them here, racers in Force 1 especially. Racers having an individual win earlier, so it's good having these new drivers come along because it sort of like promotes the FRC and it makes it as tighter as ever, knowing that these guys have got the pace, and, you know, to challenge the likes of like Lage and Lightning who have been around for since the very start. So it's very good to have these guys on board, and it's a good tight battle between all of the teams, and I reckon that will be close in the teams.
Yeah. Speaking of that, where do you think you fare? I mean, we've been kind of doing the calculations on our own and trying to figure out, because you guys don't know where you stand until it's revealed pretty soon. Where do you think you're going to end up?
Originally, I could guess. I probably think that it'll be tight between us and F4H, knowing that F4H have had some strong results. Racers winning the last 2 races, Force 1 also being up there as well, and Venom being also consistent. So it'll be tight in the teams, I'll tell you that for a fact, but never count out TX3 and AMS.
Well, there you have it, guys. I said earlier that he was an underdog to watch. I said if karma had any role in the result of his races, that he was going to be well off. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll find out here in a minute where the teams ended up.
All right, Shannon, thank you very much. And you're right. I mean, is there any more classy and nice guy on the entire Forza RC than Rossi?
There isn't. There isn't. You know, they need a Scott to go with a Rossi, right? You need to go in there and deal some punches out. JSR Coltrane here to get those guys in shape.
I would be down there. I'd be 12th. I could lock down a 12th place. Let's take a look at the provisional results just one more time. Racers up there on top, Hard BR, Commando, Rossi. Do you see any of this changing?
There was a bit of mid-pack, jiggery-pokery, bit of schmozzle in there, but I don't think it's going to affect the ultimate destination of the team's championship, are you?
Yeah, jiggery-pokery, I think, is an engineering term.
Tis
You guys
indeed.
might, yeah, that's right.
I have a PhD in jiggery-pokery. Trust me, it's come from a lot of years, a lot of hard study.
Well, on the other side of the break, we're going to have a treat. Ben's going to be here from Toro. We've talked about online racing. For those that are like saying, well, maybe I'm not as fast as these guys I'm watching today. I'm looking for somewhere to get started. Ben's going to join us from Toro. He's going to give us some opportunities. I know they got some British GT action coming up. We're going to calculate all the results of the team, and then we're going to have another presentation of who's the winners. So all that coming up on the other side. Stick around.
This is modern-day endurance racing, a set of sprint races between tyre changes and fuel stops. It has definitely heated up inside the cockpits. If at this moment you don't feel a twinge of excitement, if your heart is not beating a little bit faster, then you have no place calling yourself a motorsport fan.
It's time! Let's go sports car racing!
All right, we are back. We got no time here. We're talking chit chat. We're talking about getting some Bubba burgers.
I haven't caught my breath yet from
I
sitting
know.
down.
Ben hasn't even sat down. First question for you, Ben.
Okay.
Tell us what Toro is all about.
Well, TORA stands for the Online Racing Association. We are a group of racers that build a series for racers. We're all massive motorsports fans, so the tagline for TORA has always been as real as it gets. So we try to emulate as many real-world series as we can. So that includes like our American Sports Car Championship, which is very much based on IMSA's WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. We also have a NASCAR series. We have an IndyCar series. What that allows, like emulating these real-life series, allows us to do is work with people like British GT and to bring actually their official esports championship. We're starting up later in April. April 15th is the first round of our fifth season of their being their official esports partner here, and that's of course on Forza 7.
I was going to say you use Forza extensively.
We use Forza extensively. I think about 90% of everything we do on tour right now is just Forza, because that is our largest player base.
So let me take us all the way back to step one here.
Okay.
Say myself or John or both of us, we want to get involved. I'm not saying we're noobs, but we're running 12th. We're running 12th in this game out of 12.
We do well to be 12th.
How do we get involved so we can get better?
Okay. But the brilliant thing about Tour is that we welcome all skill levels and all drivers. So it doesn't matter if you're 5 seconds off these top guys. It doesn't matter if you're 3 seconds off these top guys. There are people there at Tour for you to race. There's such a wide player group that we have that allows you to just jump in with everything. I mean, we have all types of cars with our everything up to the prototypes, a whole way down to like hot hatchbacks and things like that. So we try to cover the entire motorsport spectrum, if you will, with everything. If drivers want to get involved, all they need to do is go to the forums.theonlineraceassociation.com, sign up with a forum name that matches their gamer tag, and just let us know that they're interested in racing, sign up for a series, and they're pretty much good to go from there.
So cool, so cool. I mean, I've been kicking around with Tour
Yeah,
for a while
a little
now.
bit, yeah.
I know you guys a little bit, and I'm so excited for the new British GT, man.
I am
It's
so
been
excited as well.
such a great series.
Yeah, it is an amazing series. It's an amazing opportunity to get to work with the guys over at British GT and to bring this esports championship.
And you do the whole thing. You do the multi-class racing.
do
You
the
got the
multi-class.
GT3 guys, the
Yeah.
GT4.
Yeah, we do everything as real to the real life series as we can. So we have all the major manufacturers represented, Lamborghini, Porsche, Aston Martin, especially now with that new GT3 that we just got. Audi's in there. Trying to remember who all I just mentioned.
Everybody.
Yeah, everyone's in there.
Yeah,
the
the whole
only thing we have
spectrum.
to just slightly do is that we have to bring in the Viper to represent Janetta, but I think everyone's okay with that.
So no Yugos.
No Yugos, yeah.
Until they build the GT3 car. But
Just picture that in your mind for a second.
Yeah.
A Yugo GT3 car.
No, I don't really want to. What a lot of people don't realise, though, Scott, these guys put so much hard work into it. And I know because they've got a show
Tons.
on the Radio Show Limited network, which is where we have IMSA and RadioLeMans.com, etc. They are so well organised that they are recognised as by the RAC Motorsport Association, who are the governing body
Yeah.
of real-life, full-size motorsport, as an organising club. That's how seriously it's
Yeah,
taken.
we're actually the
Well done for
first virtual organizing club that's been recognized by a real world governor sanctioning body. That was back in 2010, I believe.
Is it that long ago?
Yeah, it's been that long, yeah.
Okay, I'll get my
Tour's been
clothes.
around for 10 years now, believe it or not. We've been racing since back on Forza 2 with our sports car stuff, and it's just kind of grown from there.
What have you made of what you've seen today?
I mean, the racing's been amazing, hasn't it?
Incredible.
It's just been side by side, winner takes all, just not like I would say argy-bargy. I mean, rubbing racing, that's going to happen, but it's just been amazing just to watch these guys, these top athletes honing their craft, just showing us what it can be done with a virtual game, that it can be just as good as racing as what you see on Sunday afternoons.
And how about that teams competition? Complete new look at how teams work in Tora. In Forza, excuse me.
With Tora, we typically do the real-world equivalent of like having a drivers' championship, a teams' championship, and a privateers' championship. But this is a completely different demographic, having the team in 3 different cars out there on the track. Now, there's a couple of Tora series that have done that in the past, but nothing to like at this extent. Now, usually they're like slower, like I would say, like modern, like classic muscle cars, that kind of thing, but never something in like prototypes, or especially with like the 570, the 458, and the NSX. That was a brilliant combination. That was a brilliant race.
Absolutely. Well, tell them one more time before we get to the award ceremony where they can sign up for Tora.
Yeah. You just go on to the forums.theonlineracingassociation.com, sign up for an account, and you're good to go.
Amazing stuff. I mean, without leagues like this, we wouldn't have this sort of pool of people feeling in. You guys are on the ground floor. You guys are the grassroots, feeding everything that we do. And we greatly appreciate your time, Ben, and you being here.
Yeah,
and for you and your crew and everything they do. I know it's a big team.
Yeah, this is a huge opportunity for us to be here, so thank you for having us.
Hey, as long as I'm around, you can hang out with me, Ben.
I'm okay with that.
Hey, you got somewhere to race last night.
You got somewhere to race, man.
Yeah, I mean, he was chiming in with all great notes. So appreciate you being here, Ben. Let's go to the top of the roof for a little bit of awards ceremony of the teams.
With team racing, we have made history in the Forza Racing Championship, and it is my pleasure to present the winners of team competition today. This is the Pre-season Invitational podium ceremony. So happy to announce that the winning team, maybe no surprise, but the winning team is Team F4H. We're going to bring the guys out one at a time. First, let's start with Force 1. Come on up. Let's hear it, everybody. Force 1. Well done. Next, we've got F4H Venom. Come on out, Venom. And last but not least, maybe the man of the race, maybe the man of this entire preseason invitational, Racers himself. Come on up, buddy. Well done, guys. Now, we've got some trophies for the winners here, and to present that, we've got David Kochman, race driver from IMSA, Park Place Motorsport. He's going to be passing out the controllers, the trophies to our winners. David, come on up. Let's see. Well done for Force 1. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2018 Pre-season Invitational Team Champions F4H. Come on down, guys. I want to talk to you just a bit. Be careful coming down. I want to ask you a few questions. Venom, let's start with you. You are known as a race car specialist. How did you feel today, especially in that final race? Those are the cars that you feel most comfortable with, right?
I practiced that car the least because I really needed the production car practice, and I think I really shined in those. I wasn't too great in the Ford, but Tobin did a great job, so it all worked out.
And Force 1, you struggled in that last race, but it's all about the team. Tell me about the team structure going in. What was your plan going into team racing with Force 1, with your team, with F4H?
Our main focus all weekend was consistency, and I feel like we really executed on that, and we did a great job of working together to make sure that we got the best possible results. I'm really happy with how we worked together and how we executed, especially in that last race, because Tobin basically carried us to this victory.
And racers, man, if I had told you a week ago that you would win 3 out of 8 races here, what would you have said?
I would have just said no. Honestly, I didn't expect that at all. It was an amazing result. I honestly didn't think that would happen today, so it's really, really, really cool feeling.
What do you chalk up your individual and your team success to?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really sure. I think it's just keeping a cool head and just trying to keep it consistent, just focusing on each corner. That's all I was doing. And while other people might have made some mistakes, I just kept it clean, and it paid dividends, so it's really good.
Well, keeping it clean is what F4H is all about. These guys are fast, they race clean, and they are your 2018 Pre-season Invitational Team Champions. Congratulations, guys. We'll send it back to you. Thanks to all our racers for the ForzaRC. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Back to you on the desk.
All right, Brian. Well, that's why he's the community manager, right? He can get him riled up there.
I just liked him going careful of the podium, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Gonna look after them.
I'm like, jump off, guys.
Yeah, let's go.
Just get down there now.
Well, you saw the winners. Let's take a look at the final standings here of the team competition, and I hope it's going to be back. I hope we're going to see a lot more team stuff. You can see there, though, the final results. You see a little bit of a penalty for Rossi that dropped him back to 6th. I'm not sure that was the difference, but racers, man, sort of the underdog / MVP of the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, Force 1's racers carried us to this victory. He's a funny guy, but he got some team support as well. Because remember,
absolutely.
Rossi was out there at the start. He won a couple of races. JSR couldn't support him.
Yeah,
and they just let that bubble burst.
Well, that's what team racing's all about. If you're at the Tour de France, it's no good having one good guy. You need your team to get you to the right position. And there's the final standards. Actually, it's a comprehensive victory. But look how close it was for second place. JSR nearly squeezing through and taking that second position right in the last race.
Rossi still did beat AMS, though.
Yeah, and races. Rossi and races tied there on their
and that was the thing. He just, for Craviator, did not have a good enough showing. They could have finished second. But good job by TX3 battling back. They had fallen back after that first race. They were very low, but able to take that second place. Still fighting, even with first place well out of reach.
No iron team. No iron team.
No. Just a me. There is me and team. Thank you very much.
Well, John, absolute pleasure being here. I know this feels like the 97th time I've said goodbye to you today, but tell us where you're going to be out calling the next race.
Next weekend, round to Bathurst, Mount Panorama, another iconic circuit. That's a modified production race and a couple of GT3 and GT4 races as well. That's all live across the weekend in sound and vision. And then the 12th to the 14th of April, I think I gave the wrong date before, for IMSA at Long Beach for the Bubba Burgers Sports Car Grand Prix. 100 minutes on the main streets of Long Beach, concrete canyons, small margins, and it's all live on the IMSA app and IMSA radio. It's free to download. We never ask you for any cost for that. Go and find it on your app store.
It's the #1 channel on my Roku.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I watch it all the time. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule. As we mentioned, this is just the Invitational. We have a full season of racing, Allie, every week.
Yeah, there are so many events this year. The biggest year of the Forza Racing Championship ever. more people competing than ever, more prize money than ever, and you can see there's going to be rivals, there's going to be racing, there's going to be all sorts of different ways to get involved. So get on over to ForzaRC, I should say, .com, ForzaRC.com, and sign up there. That's where you can register and link your account to your tag. John, you look astounded.
I literally have dropped my jaw when I've said all of that. That's fantastic stuff. I thought I was a busy man.
Hey, we're not just going to give away $250,000. These guys have to work for it.
You know what? Putting it that way, that seems reasonable.
That's right. A lot of commitment. It's going to be a great season. Hope you guys will get out there and sign up. I want to thank a few folks that without them, we would not be here today. IMSA, Plantronics, Playseat, Bubba Burgers. I want to thank them personally for the burger that I had. Michelin, my hometown sponsor in Greenville, South Carolina. Of course, they're known more for in France, the big operation over there. But those guys, without them, we could not be on here. And the number one people I want to thank is the community out there, because without an audience, we have no purpose here. So thanks so much, the whole crew here. For Allie, John, you saw Brian up on the roof, Shannon doing an excellent job, and of course, Mellish in the nerd pit all day long, giving us the ins and outs. Thank you guys so much for watching the Forza Racing Championship 2018 Pre-season Invitational, brought to you by IMSA. We'll see you throughout the year.